Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to virtual Homestead Miami Speedway to kick off a new season of the TechHub.TV Cup Series presented by Kicking Asphalt Racing. Tonight, the Heaven's Best Service Group 160. Hello, friends. Carlos Zimmerman here from my home in Huntsville, Texas. Alongside of me, Warren Keith from his home in Florida. Warren, it's a pleasure to be back here with you in the booth again for a second season of the TechHub.TV Cup Series tonight at Homestead.
Yeah, it's good to be back. And, season one, we caught the tail end of season one, and it was just a fantastic series to cover. So glad to be back for season two. And what a place to start off, better than Homestead Miami Speedway.
It was an incredible end to that season. Wasn't able to catch it on my end, but, I know everyone who watched it and definitely enjoyed every bit of it. And we're glad to be back with these guys for a second season this year. Starting grid's going to roll around on the bottom of your screen. Dylan Stipe won the pole after just knocking off James Dunleavy. He will roll off second. Rolling off third will be Craig Burns. He was a winner from Charlotte towards the tail end of that first season. Travis Daly will start to his outside. Row number 3, Gabriel Elson and Tristan Maher. And then row number 4, Mike Tellier and Christopher Wilson, 7th and 8th. And then rounding out the top 10, Garrett Powell in the 87. And then Steve Kerpel in the 10th position. Rest of the grid will scroll on the bottom of your screen. Warren, this is a very, very slick track, I've been told, or we've been told. What is going to be the key for these guys to just keep their cars clean?
Well, that's a big task tonight due to this being the first time they're going to run open setups in this league. And we've been hearing a lot from the drivers that, the track's a bit tight right now. Later in the race, it might be starting to slide around. These drivers have combated the tightness while loosening up their cars. And you're going to see drivers on the bottom of the racetrack, top of the racetrack, middle of the racetrack. You're going to see them all over the place tonight. And, if they can just keep the wall clean off turn 4 and turn 2, they're going to be good to go.
This grid will continue to scroll, and we'll get to the bottom. About a 38 car field here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. We're looking at a full 160 laps tonight. That is a typical full race at Homestead. Couple cars that are filling in tonight. James Dunleavy, he is in the 89 tonight in place of Brandon King. He rolls off from the outside pole, so a really good qualifying spot for the guy subbing. And then the 43 of Landon Allers is in. He currently isn't on the racetrack, oddly enough, but he is filling in for Nick King. Both Brandon and Nick King dealing with power outages due to Hurricane Laura. That's why they are not with us tonight. So sending our well wishes to those guys as they hopefully will have power back very soon. But Dunleavy and Allers get the call tonight for those two rides.
Yeah, and what a job by Dunleavy to get it on outside pole in that number 89 car. That is a stellar lap that he put down. But stellar laps can be great, but unless you got to hold the tires down. If you can hold the tires up and you can go quick beginning, middle, and end of the run, that's impressive. But we'll have to see as the field comes to 3 and 4.
Dylan Stipe ready to kick off a new season of the TechHub.TV Cup Series presented by Kicking Asphalt Racing. Again, folks, tonight the Heaven's Best Service Group 160 from Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. We're glad you're with us on the Flatout Racing Network. We're ready to bring to you 160 laps of great action. Green flag in the air, and we are racing in Homestead.
And the whole field will get away cleanly into turn 1. As Dylan Stipe will actually get the nice advantage there. A little blink from Dylan as they go through 1 and 2. But the rest of the field keeping it clean. And they'll single file out for 2nd and 3rd. Check that. 15 car making a move on the inside.
Travis Daly making that move right there in his number 15 now. Trying to maybe get 2 birds with 1 stone by getting around Craig Burns, your winner from Charlotte at the tail end of the last season. But he is not able to hold it there, and we're already under yellow. First caution of the night.
Yeah, that's coming off turn 4 back in the field. Let's see who's involved. A lot of cars involved. That's a big pile up in turn 4. Lap 1, big one here at Homestead Miami Speedway. As everyone's trying to get clear and around each other to get back up the pace. But not the way to start off the night for some of these drivers.
And big time wreck Matt Mackin, one of the cars involved. I believe Clint Leatherwood, he got a piece of it. Ryan Wilson. Landon Allers may have gotten a chunk of it, as well as for the 97 as well of, actually the 42 of Garrett Davis. Lots of cars involved. We're going to have to really take a look back at this one.
Yeah, one of the drivers involved. We saw him last night here on the Flatout Racing Network. John Mullins, the number 64, has basically got a wheel and modified, rolling through 1 and 2 in the banking. So not a good start for John Mullins after running great last night in the Sodakai's Cup Series. But yeah, we're going to go back and see exactly what happened here.
Trying to look further up through and see what exactly did happen. I think this did start with the Mullins machine and the 22 of Clint Leatherwood.
Actually, no. It started with Cole Maxwell and 3 and 4. You'll see the 48 car, hopefully, on screen. He'll be coming from the top of the racetrack all the way down to the bottom. He clips the 35, which should be the 19, but that's iRacing for you. And then just an accordion effect, everyone's going to stack up in that, nowhere to go. And unfortunately, a lot of good cars involved just because of a simple checkup.
We have to go back and we'll probably get our perspective from the 22 of Clint Leatherwood, who had much more damage than I had anticipated, as he was right in front of these guys. You can see him a little further back in this group here. Fly down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. And like you said, yeah, the 48 just made a hard left. And then it was just a chain reaction from there, collecting a bunch of good race cars. You see the 21 there. I believe Jerry Culver, he was involved. 55 of Jeff Carlson.
Yeah, I don't think I can fully blame that on Cole. I mean, yeah, sure, Cole started it, but I mean, he got really loose in 3, and I mean, he had a good job saving it. And they had a good job saving it. 35 saved it nicely, but the 22 just collected Joe Mullins, and then everyone piled in. So, you know, racing incident there, no one really at fault, but just unfortunately mass casualties behind them just due to a simple loose condition in turn 3.
So top 10 now: Dylan Stipe, Craig Burns, Travis Daly, James Dunleavy, and Gabriel Ellison. That's their top 5. Then Tristan Maher, Mike Tellier, Christopher Wilson, Garrett Powell, and Steve Kerpel. They are the top 10. Not much changed really about. Everybody from 21st on back decided to come down and make a pit stop, so about half the field. I don't think half the field was involved, but a couple of them probably just pitting to top the tanks off and get themselves going.
A lot of those drivers are drivers who were involved in that wreck there, so a lot of these damaged race cars were on pit lane getting repaired. That's mostly who pitted there. There might have been a couple of outliers who got fuel and tires, but most of them are drivers who were involved in that wreck.
So that didn't take long, Warren, for our first yellow on our first lap. We didn't even get a lap through, and we're already working our first caution of the night. Do you think these guys are going to be able to slow it down now?
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit of butterfly effect. You know, we knew these drivers from the practice. They really were fighting tight in practice, and a lot of these drivers were trying to free up the cars, and some of the drivers might have went a little too far on the free side and paid for it lap 1, turn 3 on cold tires. So we'll have to see exactly what happens on this next restart, but I'm hoping some of these drivers realize where the car is at, how they need to get through 3 and 4 the first time, and hopefully complete a lap.
We'll have to see how that pans out. Looking through the field, some players that were really contenders at the tail end of last season. Dakota Curtis, he's an 11th in that 11. Deshaun Gorham and Ryan Thomas, they were running well in the races I was here for. And so, yeah, I'm looking through there. About the top 20 really got through it virtually unscathed, from Dylan Stipe all the way down to Landon Allers. As the pace car lights are still on, we'll probably go it around one more time and we'll go back green at lap 7 of 160. Do want to take this chance, folks, to let y'all know that this is a stage format race. At lap 50, we will have the end of the first stage. Winner of the stage gets 1 playoff point. And then the second stage will go from the conclusion of stage 1 through lap 100. And then again, the winner of that gets a stage point. And then the winner of the race gets 5 extra bonus points towards the playoffs. So a little bit of a real-life NASCAR flair added into this series this season.
Yeah, and that's great. That shows you that, especially with this new style they're using, that's really going to reward the comers and goers, as they go through the race here. You might be good at the beginning of the race, and then you might fall off in that second stage, but come back in that third stage. So, be interesting to see who will take advantage of those stages and try to go for a stage point, or maybe strategize around that and try to win the whole race.
Again, top five, Dylan Stipe and Craig Burns. That should be an interesting restart there. Row one, row two, Travis Daly and James Dunleavy. And then Tristan Maher and Gabriel Ellison. That is your first 3 rows here for this restart. Here on lap 7 of 160, just getting to the start of this one. We're the lone crew tonight, folks. Nothing else going on, so if those of you watching, we're glad you're with us. On Flatout Racing Network, Carlos Zimmerman, Warren Keith. We still got a lot of action to go, folks. We are barely taking the lid off of this one. So here we go. Dylan Stipe and Craig Burns, they will come down, and we were back under green, 154 to go tonight. 44 laps left to go in the stage, and Dylan Stipe does a good job to take the demand early, and he is out in front.
Yeah, and Craig Burns keeping on his tail. We saw Craig Burns fighting for a championship last season, and while he's leaving no rock unturned here, he's already up to P2, and he's trying to chase down Dylan Stipe into turn 3. We'll see if he can try to make a pass here or stay in line. Looks like he's going to try to stay in line behind Dylan, but right now the field rolls through 3 and 4. Top 4 have got broken away, but that battle for 5th is really raging on now.
Mike Tellier and Gabriel Ellison, those are the two battling, looking to stick his nose in there. Is Garrett Powell thinks better of it. Still thinking about it, but on the outside, Gabriel Ellison trying to get that run, but that inside line is where you want to be today, as he will take the 5th spot away. Battle for second place starting to heat up, as here comes Travis Daly to the inside of Craig Burns.
And Travis Daly just proved you wrong. He went from the high side on turn 2, and he had a huge run down the back straightaway. Got past Craig Burns. We're going to see that high side possibly be a little bit more useful than it usually is in official races. So we'll keep that in mind as we have a blinker in the back there. But as they roll through 1 and 2, nice little pack forming here for about, as caution is out on a racetrack. That might not have been a... yeah. It's all blinker back there, but that might not have been a blinker. That might actually have been the wreck.
55 of Jeff Carlson involved in another incident. Ryan Ezel, I think that was the blinker. He isn't involved as well. I believe that might be it for guys that were involved. Oh no, Parker Bland is in the pits. He may have been involved as well. Yeah, that's definitely who was involved. So about maybe a possible 3-car incident here. Bring out our second caution of the night here, only on lap 10.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to 55 there. He's rolling the bottom of the racetrack. He's doing a good job holding the bottom, but he just gets loose off turn 4, corrects it, goes up near the wall, and he just collects Parker Bland on the back end of that, and hits a few more cars in the process. But man, we're seeing a lot of loose cars and starting these big wrecks tonight, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, he just caught the apron just enough for it to send him around. And I know they go away here, folks, because there's a horrible tendency that iRacing does whenever these guys wreck. They spin out. That's been the thing with this series, so that's why you're not seeing the best angle possible. We'll go ahead and give another replay here. I'm going to give an onboard, actually, with the 42 machine. He had quite the view of this incident. I'm going to try and find him here. There he is, the 97 on our scoring monitor, Garrett Davis. He had a clear-cut view of this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, but the 22 didn't help the situation, having the blink in the beginning, right in front of him. That might have made the 55 hit the apron trying to avoid where he's blinking at. That's just one of the problems with iRacing. Sometimes you get a blinker and you try to avoid him, and sometimes you collect you and a few more just trying to avoid a simple blinker. And but that's just one of the end arounds you have to get used to about the iRacing service.
That's why we're working our second caution tonight, but a 3-4 car incident towards the back of the pack, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. As Dylan Stipe, he maintains the lead, but when do we get back to this restart here, as the top 20 have still not pit? He'll have a different contender with him to his outside. It won't be Craig Burns. It's going to be the 15 of Travis Daly.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see how he does on this restart. We saw him that last, well, I shouldn't say last time by under green. We had a few laps under green there. But he was rolling the high side, wanted to just beautifully, and he was getting these huge runs down the back straightaway. And, if he can do that on this restart alongside Dylan Stipe, he might have him clear by turn 3. So, will it be interesting to see how the 15 gets around there, but he's been really just ecstatic on the high side on the early part of this race.
Pace car lights are still on. We'll step aside for our first commercial break. You're watching the TechHub.tv Cup Series, presented by Kicking Asphalt Racing here tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway to kick off season number 2. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side. Lights are out atop the pace car. We'll go back green at lap 15 of 160, giving us 146 to go in the race, 36 laps to go in stage number 1. The top 10 right now hasn't really changed much. No one has really jumped in and out other than, actually, the more I look at it, no one has really jumped in and out. They have just been moving amongst themselves. So the top 5 is Dylan Stipe, Travis Daly, James Dunleavy, Craig Burns, and Gabriel Ellison. That is your top 5 when we get things going here for some. We're hoping for some more green flag action. These guys, they know how to bring good racing, and we're hoping to see it right now.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how this goes. And we talked about this before the break. We'll see how the 15 here, Travis Daly, does. He's been showing he was one of the quicker cars on track the last times by under green, and he was rolling the high side good. So we'll see exactly how he does. The base car will be hitting the left-hand turn, the very sharp left-hand turn. He's about to hit the pit wall as they come down to get the green flag. Green flag back in the air, and Dylan Stipe with a great restart. Didn't give Travis Daly any options, as they're going to go 3 wide for 5th position as Garrett Powell looks to the inside to make it 3 wide, and he'll get the spots done.
What a power move out of the 87 of Garrett Powell as they head towards the back straightaway. Just an incredible jump for that man right there as he is trying to clear Gabriel Ellison, and he will. And Craig Burns is caught on that outside line, hoping to make it work. He's getting a nice overhead shot here. On the outside, though, Travis Daly trying to make that line work there to get around the 20. And he's going to get a good run. I thought he was going to swing it to the inside there, Warren. There he goes.
There he goes, yeah. And he's going to try to make the inside work in turn 1. He's got to be careful. Don't want to slide up into Dylan Stipe. But Dylan Stipe with a nice power move around the outside. We're going to see that outside, like I said, be a contender today. And if you can hold the inside, that's great. But Garrett Powell is going to try to make it 3 wide again. No, he thought about it on the back straightaway. And he'll concede for 5th place right now. But Craig Burns going to try to roll the high side around what would have been Brandon King, but James Dunleavy holding on strong right now for 3rd place to cross the line, lap 17 in the books.
Man, Garrett Powell really had to lift through that corner as he tried to check up and avoid hitting the 89 as the battle rages on in front of them between the 89 and the 12. Moving up towards the 6th position now, Tristan Maher getting around the 25 of Gabriel Ellison as Mike Tellier looks on. It's about a top 8 breakaway as they're all just pretty much under a blanket. You got to go back a little further to 9th place. Ryan Thomas, who's about to lose 9th place to the 47 of Justin Hendry.
Yeah, and that 47 car has been moving up quite nicely since the beginning of this race. Started mid-pack, and now he's finding his way, battling for a top 10 position. As through 3 and 4, you just about saw it on your screen. James Dunleavy and Garrett Powell just about had it coming together. As down the back straightaway, Tristan Maher in the 17 will get around him. Starting to see the drivers we saw last season, Carlos, in the fixed setup, trying to make their way to the front and show that even though it's an open setup, they're still the drivers of the class of the field.
Garrett Powell and Tristan Maher settle now into the 4th and 5th positions. This is all happening, though, behind the 20 of Dylan Stipe. About a 0.4 of a second lead for him right now. He'll get the flyby here. Craig Burns sticking his nose to the inside of Travis Daly, trying to make a pass down the back.
Yeah, he's not going to have the run, though, that Travis Daly had on that high side. Will clear Craig entering turn 3, and Craig's just going to follow the 15 through 3 and 4. As you're starting to see, as Dylan Stipe blinks it out in the beginning of the front of the field there, as everyone's going to get single file and try to see if they can run nice and even and try to catch the leader, Dylan Stipe.
For the time being, it looked like they were going to be single file. Mike Tellier's worked his way back up to 6th also. Yep, single file amongst the top 8. 9th and 10th, Justin Hendry and Ryan Thomas. You got to go a little further back to find a battle on the racetrack. Stephen Kerpel in the 5 trying to hold off Raul Mesa in the 37. Saw Raul Mesa last night in the Chris Cup series, running in that series. Finished a modest, I believe, 11th, so not a bad night for him. And he's currently running up there in 13th, trying to now set his sights on the 18 of Christopher Wilson.
Yeah, and Raul has been, in the off-season, one of the drivers to watch. He was showing speed in the testing and practice sessions. So it'll be interesting to see on these long runs if he'll be able to make his way up through the field. As there he goes trying to make a move on Christopher Wilson. That's for 12th place on the racetrack. And Christopher's going to be able to make that sticker on the outside. No, Raul's going to... Oh, the 5... Oh, they're going to have a caution on the racetrack. The 5 car gets in. Oh, in the pit lane entry, the 5 car smacks it hard.
He is elevated on top of those barrels on that protect the cars from hitting that pit wall head on, and oh my.
That was a big impact there for the 5 car of Steve Kerpel. That was just bad luck, and I don't know what happened. He was the back end of your shot there as we were watching the battle for 12th on track, and I don't know what you call that. But okay. Nope, that's a slide job gone wrong from the 91 car of James Knuckle.
Might be having some technical difficulties on my side, trying to hopefully have those resolved right now. So we were looking at the 5 of Steve Kerpel, having a terrible accident right there on the front stretch. Thank God he actually isn't an actual car. It is a virtual car, so that otherwise that would have been extremely devastating, as on my end everything's frozen.
Well, I'm just going to tell you now, the 91 car goes down in turn 3, hugs the bottom of the racetrack, the white line, comes sliding up just slowly, collects the 5 car, and that 5 car does something we rarely see even on iRacing, is hit that pit entry wall. I mean, it's not every day you see a race car hit that, even on iRacing.
Folks, still dealing with some technical difficulties on my side. I'm going to let Warren take care of bringing the stuff to you while I try to figure this out.
Yep, gonna have to play the old MRN style here, as we have some drivers on pit lane. It's near the back of the field, but we do have some drivers on pit lane. And a couple of front runners as well. We have Tristan Maher and Craig Burns on pit lane. There goes Garrett Powell as well. It looks like everyone's getting 4 tires who did pit. So Craig Burns, Tristan Maher, Garrett Powell, and Mike Tellier were the drivers to come down pit lane as we're lapping lap 24 on the racetrack. Under caution here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
Well, it looks like we got things fixed. Everything is good to go now, so yeah, now we can finally go take a look back and see everything that happened with the fight with Steve Kerple.
Well, it's good everything's back and orderly there on your end.
Yeah, it would be really bad, especially since I'm the guy that controls all the productions on this side. So we don't have that. That's not good at all.
Even real life has their technical difficulties, you know.
No,
It
yeah.
is what it is. It is what it is.
Gonna watch these guys head through 3 and 4. He's got the 91 to his inside, and the 91 of Kunkel. I think that's probably a bit of net code for one thing. And then the 5 trying to recover just could not swing it back onto the racing surface, and that is why he flew up into those quasi-tire barriers from the end of the pit wall. So that's really all that happened, folks. That's why we're working our third caution. And I had a bit of a good green flag run going, but as we are now halfway through this first stage.
Yeah, and that's going to be, that was an interesting thing. We're halfway through the stage, and we just saw some of our front runners on pit lane. We saw, just as the frozen condition came back, you saw live here on Flatout Racing Network, you saw Craig Burns, Garrett Powell, Mike Tellier, and Tristan Maher all came down pit lane and got 4 tires and fuel. That'll be interesting to see how they pull this out. You know that it's a 50-lap stint. You might not make it without having to pit in this stage, so we'll have to see exactly how this goes and how the cautions fall. That might play into those drivers' hands.
While the pace car lights are still on, I do want to talk to a driver, Parker Bland, involved in an earlier wreck. So we'll try to bring him up here in a minute. I actually got to do something real quick to make sure I'm able to bring him up here. There we go. All right, now let me go try and grab him. Remember where his race room is, folks. And, oh, you got to be kidding me, folks. My goodness. Thank you. Parker Bland, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yeah.
Man, that was just an unfortunate accident there for you under one of our other cautions. You trying to get the car repaired and get it back out there, or is your night over?
I'm going to try. It's got a lot of repairs left. Got 27 minutes left, but I'll try and limp it around to finish.
Yeah, man, Parker, that was bad. You and me were talking just before the race, and you were hoping to have a great night tonight. Unfortunately, that huge wreck, I mean, a lot of drivers were hoping to have a good night, and, I don't know what exactly you call that, but was that just, you think that was just a 48 getting loose because of the setups, or was that something else?
I wasn't really able to see the first wreck too well, but I'm not sure.
All right, 10-4, man. Hopefully you get it back on track and gain some valuable points tonight.
Yeah, I hope so.
Righty, that was Parker Bland, a tough break for him tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to get some semblance of things being fixed, and he can get it back out there and continue racing. So pace car lights are now off. We will go green at lap 28 of 160. That'll give us about 23 laps to go left in the stage. Top 10 has shifted a little bit. Dylan Stipe and Travis Daly are the front row. Third and fourth, James Dunleavy and Gabriel Ellison. Justin Hendry has worked his way up to fifth. Ryan Thomas, Robert Carroll, Christopher Wilson, Raul Mesa, and Landon Allers filling in for Nick King tonight. They are the top 10.
Man, I feel bad for some of these guys in the back of the pack who they didn't have the best qualifying effort and, unfortunately get involved in those wrecks like that. So, man, I feel bad for Parker. He was really hoping to have a good night tonight.
Dylan Stipe looks to maybe still having some connection issues.
Sure is.
Hopefully those will resolve for him. It would be very unfortunate because he is the man that is in the lead right now. About at 1st through 10th, and then 12th and 13th are the only cars who have not come down and made a pit stop. So something we're going to have to document throughout the next bit of this run here, especially if we get into a green flag run here as we get ready to close out this restart. Dylan Stipe gets a decent jump there, but Travis Daly's going to try and stick with him, but Stipe will get ahead by about half a car length.
Yeah, and Stipe's had these restarts down, hasn't he, on these restarts, and just kept Travis Daly questioning when he's going to go. But as they roar through 1 and 2, try to see if Travis Daly can get a good run on the high side. Seems to get one. I don't know if he's going to get to the back bumper of Dylan Stipe, but it's a battle for 4th on track right now that is really interesting. Is Ryan Thomas and I believe it's Gabriel Ellison side by side as they roll through 3 and 4. It's 18 car in the wall.
Caution is out.
Yep, cautions breed cautions.
Yep, that's what it is. Trying to look back here and maybe figure out who it could possibly have been. It may have been just a single car spin for all we know. Looking back through here, doesn't look like it was anybody.
It's the 43 car.
43 of Landon Allers.
Yeah, we know he's filling in for a driver tonight. So, driver we usually don't see here in the Tech Hub TV Cup Series. And it looks like, oh well, there you go. There's just another one of those checkup things. Remember the 18? I said the 18 hit the wall. Well, the 43 was trying to avoid, and then it just spun down and collected the 9 car in the process.
Yeah, you see the 43 here on the outside of the 27. Yeah, that 18 just, wow. He really checked up, and then, yeah, you saw the 9 there get collected into that one. So a tough break for Landon Allers and the 9 car to have get damage there. And also a tough break for Christopher Wilson, even though he's up in the top 10 still. But, man, oh, man. Could have been a lot worse than it actually was. So, really, this could just be a little bit of a bump in the road for Landon Allers and see if he's going to be able to recover. But that's why we're under our 4th caution of the night.
Yeah, and that's a scary time for some of the drivers who just pitted as well. Like your Craig Burns and Mike Tellier, they were back there. If that would have been bigger, that could have collected them too. So pitting might be good for you in the long run, but the way these cautions have been falling, I don't know if you want to even be back there with that and risk your car.
These guys, not much happening in the pits, so we'll go ahead and talk to another driver, the 91 teammate actually of the 00 of Parker Bland. Let's go ahead and bring him up in here and let's have a chat with him about what happened with him and Steve Kerpel. James Kunkel, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRM, and he's gone. Okay, guess he didn't want to talk. All right. Guess he didn't want to talk. All right, hey, you know, that happens. You know, yep. Some drivers just don't want to talk, and they'd rather just keep to themselves. So that's all fair, and all's fair in love and war. So, something happened with the 20. Or did he pit?
Let's see here.
It's all the way back in 25th right now.
He must have pitted there. We'll see. Let me see if he see exactly what he took as we're going to keep on going live here. I'll tell you exactly what happened here as he comes down pit lane. Comes in his pit stall, right sides, left side. He took 4 tires and fuel there, Carlos. So he's going to try to pull that strategy as well, that he knows he's going to have to pit to get to the end of the stage and try to get those valuable stage point if he can try to win the stage. He's got the fastest car on track, but now he's in the hornet's nest. And he's going to have to be careful and tread lightly on these restarts.
So that'll hand the lead over to Travis Daly, who has been really trying to wrestle that lead away for quite some time so far in the opening portion of this race. As now he's going to be the leader. Now he's got to worry about cars behind him. I'm more focused on the 32 Reen Toyota of Ryan Thomas. He was really making a hard charge there from just outside the top 5, and he's up to 3rd now, and he's going to be right behind Travis Daly, depending on what line Daly takes on this restart.
Yeah, and that's one of those mind games you have to play if you're Travis Daly. You know you're good on the high side, but you've seen that inside line shoot off really nice tonight. So now you've got to really choose and play your game and where you want to restart. But if I was at 15, I'd just cut my losses and take the inside. You know, it's just been the better line, but you know, you got a driver who usually don't run with you out there on your outside, and you don't know what he's going to do. So it's kind of one of those things where you try to guess what he's going to do and what you don't do. And, yeah. Hopefully Ryan Thomas pushes you to the lead, doesn't it?
Yeah, honestly. That's a thing to watch out for, too. Pace car light's still on. Looking through here to give a call to the 47 right now, Justin Hendry. I know he hasn't pitted yet, but he is running really good right there in that number 47 car, showing a lot of speed early on in this one, and I'm definitely sure the folks at Sega Keith Motorsports are very happy so far with his performance tonight.
Yeah, they should be. He's one of the new drivers over there, and a few other drivers to look out for tonight. We're going to go back here and look. Deshaun Gordon, we saw him before we went live here. He had a little bit of an incident in qualifying. Got loose and hit the inside wall in the front stretch. But look at him running a nice P9. That's a good run for that 66 car. He ran pretty well last end of the season as well. 21 of Cody Jordan doing a good job tonight. I believe he's one of the few cars that look like a modified, but still, even though with him looking like a modified, I believe he's running P13. So good job for him. And then back there you have Mike Tellier and Craig Burns still back in P17 after these couple laps under green. So not making the headway they're expecting to have on those fresh tires.
Pace car lights are out. We will go green at lap 34 of 160. That'll give us about 17 laps to go left in this stage. Warren starting to get down to the nitty-gritty of this stage. Will the aggression level go up for just one playoff point?
I mean, the aggression level hasn't really gone down, has it?
No, it really hasn't.
From what we've seen at the start of this race. I don't know. Some of these drivers might try to stretch it, even saving fuel here. And they might try to make this playoff point. I know Travis Daly would love to have it. Great way to start off the season. But there's a lot of hungry drivers behind them looking for a playoff point, and a lot of quick cars as well. As they roll through 3 and 4 on the banking, pace car is going to hit the pit lane this time by. As the field now in control of Travis Daly, he'll shoot off and get away from James Dunley as the green flag back in the air, and he'll try to move up to the high side and walk off that number 89 car. It's double wide for third place as Ryan Thomas, the driver we talked about so much last year, now on a Toyota, trying to make his way to top 3 and maybe even second off turn 2.
Sticks it now to the inside of the 89 of James Dunleavy as they fan out 2-3 wide down the back straightaway. Here comes the 32 Ream Toyota of Ryan Thomas, but Dunleavy going to try and get that good run on that middle to high groove to maintain the second spot, but Thomas is going to stick to it as he has got about half a car length between him and Dunleavy as they head towards 1.
And Dunleavy, he gives it a bump! Gave him a bump, but he holds on to it. What a save there for the 89 of James Dunley, really showing how it's done tonight to keep a hold of the car, even though some of these drivers might not give two dangs about him. But Ryan Thomas, we'll have to check what kind of damage he has after that contact. That was pretty significant contact, and indeed he does front-end damage on the 32 Ream Toyota, and that is going to damage his hopes, especially under green right now, as that now will give the P3 spot to a charging Garrett Powell.
And now he's going to stick it to the new second-place car here of Gabriel Ellison, who took advantage of that little scary incident, and the 87 trying to close up, but the 25 still hanging it around on the outside. And Travis Daly, he is loving every bit of this.
Yeah, Travis Daly's looking in his mirror and going, this is great, but now the 87's cleared the 25, and he's like, uh-oh, here comes Garrett Powell. One of the drivers in preseason we were talking about off air that we think has a good shot at the championship this year, and look at him dive down to turn 1 and 2. He's just rolling the center so much quicker than Travis Daly, and he'll get half that car length that he had even off turn 2. He'll charge down the back straightaway. He might be to the bumper, Travis Daly, by turn 3.
There they go through into turn number 3. Garrett Powell going to run the same line as Daly, hoping to get a run off the corner. He moves the 15 up. Here comes the 87 of Garrett Powell. They will be side-by-side drag race to the line. Daly leads the lap, but the 87 finally, after 38 laps, he has worked his way to the lead. Can he get it off of turn number 2? He will. New leader, the 87 of Powell.
Yeah, and he runs that center line so nice, doesn't he? Huge rotation in that 87 car, just lets him get off the bottom of the racetrack so much quicker than the other drivers. And, the middle of the racetrack here is usually the one you want to run, but Garrett Powell showing that bottom side is viable, as he will easily get about a car length and a half on Travis Daly as they come to complete lap 39, coming almost to 10 to go left in this stage.
Gabriel Ellison, he settles down to the 3rd spot. He might be starting to set up the 15 here for a potential pass. Tristan Maher, how about him? He's worked his way back up into the 4th spot after passing a few cars there. Now he's going to set his sights on this front 3 breakaway. James Dunleavy, despite that scary incident and that now left rear quarter panel damage on the 89, he is settled into 5th and is hoping to just keep it there. But Mike Tellier, who's worked his way up to 6th, he is starting to hound the 89.
Yeah, and I think the 89 might have gotten away with a nice win there. That right side quarter panel damage isn't that bad. I'm sorry, left side quarter panel damage, my mistake. That's probably not going to hurt him as much as that front right corner damage that Ryan Thomas has, and he's dropped like a rock since that incident. As now he's battling for 11th place, make that 12th in about half a lap when the 66 of Eshawn Gordon gets there. So Ryan Thomas just limping to the end of the stage to get that repair done. But at the front of the field, it's Garrett Powell, but don't look now. Tristan Maher with that fresher tire is up to 2nd, or battling for 2nd, and in 3rd place right now.
Him and Garrett Powell, along with Mike Tellier and then the Craig Burgess machine, they are all on that same pit sequence, also amongst some guys further back in the field. So that's why you see these guys blowing by guys who have not pit yet in this race, despite having 4 caution periods so far. And we're going to have another one here to end the stage in about 10 or 9 or so laps. Maher trying to get around the 15, but Daly's making it tough.
Yeah, he's making it tough, and as there you see Daly actually get a little bit of a blink there. You know, credit where credit's due. Daly's holding on his own with Tristan Maher on these older tires. He's doing a good job, as Tristan didn't get a good run off turn 2. And he'll actually lose the place entering turn 3. So credit to Tristan, Travis Daly, I'm sorry. He's actually holding on quite nicely on these older tires. But like you said, we have enough cautions already that those older tires really aren't that old.
1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. That is where all the fresh tire guys run. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. That's where all the non-fresh tire guys wear. So a good mix of both. This group of 4 is soon to be a pack of 5, as Mike Tellier has worked his way in, has caught the tail end of this group, as here comes Maher again on the 15 of Daly.
Maher needs to get by Daly now if he's going to want any chance to chase down Garrett Powell, unless we do get a yellow as a car down pit lane. We'll see who that is in a few minutes.
Caution is out.
I need to shut up.
Oh my goodness, it's the broadcaster's curse, Warren. You know, it happens to the best.
Yeah.
Let's try and figure out who it could have possibly been. May have been the 43 of Landon Allers once again. He is slow here on the back straightaway, or the front stretch, excuse me.
Yeah, and unfortunately on my end, we had those blinkouts yet again, as I try to see exactly who was involved here.
Maybe in the 22 of Clint Leatherwood.
Might have been.
As well, so while we try to sort that out, let's go back and figure out if it was indeed the 22 or the 43, and it wasn't even the 43. It was the 22 and the 9.
I think you might have to look a little bit farther up than that, buddy. The 57 and the 18 had a big moment in the return 3, and I think that's what caused everyone else to check up behind them, and that's what caused the residual wreck, which we've been seeing a lot of that tonight, haven't we, Carlos? These little checkups, everyone checking up, and then just the wreck behind them that really collects the amount of drivers that you don't want to see collected. And that's exactly what happened.
See the 18 here, dealing with the 16. Further up, Ryan Wilson's way out of share. Not Ryan Wilson, the 57. And there goes the 18 down into the grass. Has to really woe it down. Does a good job. But then now you get to the 22 of Leatherwood, who got collected with someone. We're going to have to take a couple looks at this, actually. So that was what happened to the 18. But just ahead of these guys is the 19 of Dylan Hastings. And I think that's the reason why we're under yellow. He checked up and got clipped by the 21, but then the 22 had nowhere to go, and he just plows into the 9, and then also the 55 of Jeff Carlson getting a chunk of it as well.
Yeah, the 22 car, I mean, that's not the first time tonight he's plowed into a wreck. You know, he needs to learn to slow it down. The 9 car he had plenty of time to slow that car down, Carlos. And he just pile drives the 9 car. I feel bad for the 9. He had nowhere to go, nothing wrong he did. So the 22 car just comes flying into that wreck and takes both of them out in the process.
really unfortunate because, the 9 was trying to avoid the 21 car. And then when the 19 on our scoring monitor couldn't get things going again, Leatherwood just plows into the back of him.
And that's something we, as drivers, you have to learn right off the bat is that when you see a wreck, you start braking. You don't just go flying into a wreck, and unfortunately some of these drivers tonight have, forgotten that. We've seen a couple times tonight of just pile driving, as we like to call it in the sim racing world, ARCA brakes. Me and Carlos have been on the receiving end of some ARCA brakes in our time racing, and man, it's just something you need to learn to get rid of. But you're never going to get rid of ARCA brakes, are you?
No, you don't really, and hence why not that big into racing much anymore because of just the lack of skill in some drivers. But regardless, we're under our 5th caution. Garrett Powell's just running a great race, and with the way this is going to fall here, Warren, we're going to have a really short run to the end of the stage.
We are, aren't we? We're going to have a nice little shootout to determine who's going to get that playoff point, as I believe we should be getting the 2 to go this time, so we might get a 2-lap sprint to the end of the stage here, and then it really opens up the playbook on who pits, who doesn't, and who tries to split that second stage in half. So this is a nice little junction point in the race when we get to lap 50 to see who exactly will pit, who doesn't pit, and who sets up themselves for later in the race with pit strategy.
All right, this time we'll, while we have the time, we're going to talk to James Kunkel this time. I think he told me he hit a wrong button, so it's not that he didn't want to talk to us, he just hit a wrong button. So we'll talk to him now after that little debacle he had with the 5. James Kunkel, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yeah, I do. You got me?
Yeah, got you. Just wanted to go back and figure out what happened there with you and the 5 of Steve Kerpel. Just wanted to get your side of things on that.
Yeah, so going down the back stretch, he pulled up in front of me. I tried to pass him low in a 3, and it got real tight. And I tried laying off him, I just couldn't. So it's my fault. I apologize to him. Just really aggravated because the way it's looking like, if you just avoid all the wrecks, you might get a top 10 tonight. So I'm aggravated with myself.
Yeah, because we were saying up here in the booth, at least I said that I thought you did a slide job. I thought you were trying to pull a little slider on him. Going to turn 3.
No, I wouldn't pull a Tyler Reddick from last night. I could not turn it at all, actually. I tried letting off. I tried hitting the brakes, but it just, by the time I got it straightened up, I think we had already made contact. So,
well, I tell you what, you might have a little damage, but the way the race has been going and seeing all these drivers piling into each other in these wrecks, you might just get a better finish than you think you're going to get, even though you had that wreck.
I'm sitting here waiting to get back on the track in about 15, 20 minutes. I'm hoping to still get a top 25 or so.
You might.
Yeah.
Alrighty, James, thanks for talking to us. Best of luck to you the rest of the way.
All right, thank y'all.
Alrighty, pace car lights are out, Warren. 2-lap shootout to figure out the winner of stage 1.
Yeah, and we got the drivers who pitted on the inside, don't we? We have Garrett Powell, Tristan Maher, and Mike Tellier are lining up on the inside rows, and the drivers who've been staying out on the outside. Oh, wheel spin is going to be real here on this restart if you're Travis Daly, so let's keep an eye on that as they roll through 3 and 4, getting ready for a restart here. Pace car should hit the pit lane. It's going to be a 2-lap sprint to the end of the stage to figure out who's going to get the playoff point and who will win stage 1. Pace car hits the pit lane, and Garrett Powell, wasting no time, green flag in the air as we roll through the front stretch. Garrett Powell, nice and nice. Restart. Travis Daly going to block Tristan Maher into turn 1, and it's double wide for 3rd place as Tristan Maher going to try to roll the bottom and get by Daly. Not going to happen. Garrett Powell gets a nice run and will gap them off turn 2.
Daly going to try that. Whoa! Really loose on corner exit. He saves it. But that is going to cost him a couple spots, probably due to the fact of a lack of tires as Garrett Powell's trying to get away from these guys. As, whoa, Mike Tellier's in the fence. He saves it for now. But meanwhile, at the front, white flag here in the stage as Tristan Maher finally gets clear of everybody, but might be too little too late for a stage win.
Yeah, Garrett Powell got a good restart, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do as Daly trying to run up against the wall, losing time as they go down the back straightaway. The 25, Garrett Belson, looking for a move on the inside of Tristan Maher. Will he get the spot done? He gets it down on the inside, and he'll try to make the pass, but Maher going to fight back on the outside, but off turn 4, it's going to be Garrett Powell who will get the playoff point and win Stage 1 here at Homestead.
Caution will wave for the end of the stage. Garrett Powell first. Tristan Maher just held off Gabriel Ellison for second. Gabriel Ellison actually held off Tristan Maher. And then Travis Daly fourth. Dylan Stipe, good rebound. He's up to fifth. And then the rest of the top 10 for the stage, Dunn Levy, Mike Tellier, Deshaun Gorham, Robert Carroll, and Raul Mesa. That rounds out your top 10 to clear out the stage. Garrett Powell gets a nice bonus point for winning Stage 1.
Yeah, and he did a good job holding it off, didn't he? He really worked for that. And we'll see what he does this time by, as pit lane will probably be open this time by when they come back around. And we'll see who pits and who doesn't. But Garrett Powell, what a great way to end the stage and get that critical, hopefully, at the end of the regular season playoff point.
The pace car now picks up the field. Man, what an exciting first stage. 5 cautions excluding this one. But despite that, some really good racing when we were under the green flag, Warren.
Yeah, we saw a lot of top-to-bottom passes and bottom-to-top passes, and somewhere in the middle there, we saw a lot of drivers hitting the wall. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the night if everyone has a little pancake on the right side of their race car. As pit lane's open, let's see who comes down. Looks like Garrett Powell's going to drag everyone with him, and we'll see who tries to stay out and gain some track position. Who's the first driver to stay out? It's going to be the 47 car of Justin Hendry. He's going to stay out and get the front of this restart. So everyone down pit lane, and the first car to stay out would be your driver who was in P13 in the number 47 car.
And it's not like it's a horrible move. He's only on 9-lap-old tires, so along with the 97 of Garrett Davis, he's on 8-lap-old tires, and then Jerry Culver, he's on 7-lap-old, so not a bad move by some of these guys as Garrett Powell lights up the tires coming out of the pit box. He will win the race. Off of pit road, Tristan Maher, he will roll off second. Then Gabriel Ellison, Dylan Stipe beat Ellison off of pit road, had to drive through the grass to beat him. Then Travis Daly, fifth off of the pits, with then Gorham, Mike Tellier, Mesa, Austin Harger, and Christopher Wilson. That's the top 10. Off of pit road, Justin Hendry, he in the 47, one of the newcomers to Tech Hub TV Cup Series. He will more than likely be your leader as we will get the restart on the other side of this break. You're watching the TechHub.TV Cup Series on the Flatout Racing Network. Lights are out on top of the pace car. We will go back green at lap 57 of 160, just over 100 laps to go here tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway in the TechHub.tv Cup Series. Carlos Zimmerman, Warren Keith bringing you the action tonight on the Flatout Racing Network. And having a little bit of an interesting restart here, Warren. Justin Hendry, Jerry Culver, Jeff Carlson, and Craig Burns all stayed out under that last yellow.
Yeah, and that's by design. That's by design. Be interesting to see what Jeff Carlson wants to do here. He's got no rear deck or rear bumper on that 55 Ford Performance Target Ford Mustang, so we'll see exactly what he does here, but good strategy by Justin Hendry. We saw him pit lap 45, so really he's only got about 2 laps on those tires, Carlos, so he should still be relatively quick. We'll see how this pays off for him and Jeff Culver.
2 team cars are on the inside line there for Second Keith Motorsports, the 47 and 55. 47 definitely going to have a lot more speed. Garrett Powell, he won the race off of pit lane. He will be 5th with Maher, Ellison, Stike, Daly, and Gorham. The top 10, whereas we go back green. Start of stage 2 here tonight at Homestead, as the 55 is going to duck out of the way of everybody, knowing he's the slower machine. But the 47 of Hendry gets away, but quickly up to second is the 87.
Yeah, good move by the 55 there, knowing exactly where he's at on the racetrack and just getting out of the way. But Garrett Powell wasted no time to say, yeah, I won the first stage, I want the lead back. As he'll get on the inside of the number 47, dive it down to turn 3, and will he clear the 47? Indeed, he does. Craig Burns now slides the slide job in, hoping to get along with the 47. Wow. They're going to make a little contact. As, spinner on the inside wall, bang! Hard impact. That's going to bring out the caution, hopefully, as he's just stranded on the inside wall there on the front stretch. We remain green. So
no caution.
Tech Hub officials saying, no, we're going green here, as they rocket down the back straightaway, and the 47 will gain the position back from Craig Burns.
Oh, that's just a tough... Whoa, lap car there coming by those guys in a hurry, but man, that's a tough break for the 25 of Gabriel Ellison. I believe he's now in the pits. He smacked hard that inside, and actually he's on the racetrack still. Really slow there. I'm sure there's a lot of left side damage on that 25. Oh my goodness, what a tough break for a guy that was running inside the top 10 throughout the opening portion of this race.
Yeah, and Garrett Powell got that lead early, but that 47's keeping him honest off turn 2. He'll get the run back at the 87 and dive it down to turn 3. That dirty air, that's something we're going to talk about all night as well. The dirty air just doesn't let the 47 get to the back of Garrett Powell. As they rocket off turn 4, it's a battle for third on the racetrack. It's about 3 cars in that battle, as back in the field they're about 3 wide, back for about 20th. So battles all over the racetrack, as Tristan Maher will gain the spot, so will Dylan Stite.
They're trying to clear a couple lap cars way back here. The 55 is Jeff Carlson, and the 24 just ahead of him. I believe that might be I'm not quite sure who that could be there in that 24.
It's David Durand.
David Durand. Oh yeah, here he is, back here on the racetrack. Was involved in an earlier caution, just trying to log laps at this point. You know, at the front, it's about a train of 7 cars from Powell all the way back to Mike Tellier. That is the breakaway. We got to go back to 8th place to Sean Gorham to find him. But man, these guys are going to start getting a little bit antsy here up here at the front.
Yeah, they're going to get antsy, but you know what? They're doing a good job keeping it single file and just riding out to the middle part of this stage, where I think you're going to start seeing green flag pit stops. As we know, you can't make the whole stage under green. That's just not going to work. Well, actually, you might. It'll be close, because we did have that yellow period at the end of the stage, didn't we? So it'll be close to see if some drivers might want to stretch it and make it, but the safe bet is you're going to want to pit here in the middle of the stage and just split it in half.
Travis Daly now sticking it to the inside of Craig Burns. Burns did not pit under the last caution for the stage, so he might start experiencing the fall off of his machine, and that might eventually what would happen to the 47 of Hendry eventually, if this continues, this green flag run continues for him. So that would be the tough break. I think that would happen for him really in about maybe 10 laps is when we'll see the 47 maybe start to have that fall off happen.
Yeah, maybe, but right now he's doing a good job holding off second place from Tristan Maher, as Tristan Maher is going to look to the inside down the back straightaway and try to shoot on the inside of the 47 in turn 3, but the 47 holds tough. He'll try to ride around the outside of Tristan Maher, but it looks like that 17 with those fresh tires, and Dylan Stite, huge run. Oh, there goes Dylan Stite playing a little peekaboo off turn 4, but he'll have a great run off turn 4 and go with Tristan Maher on the inside of the 47 car.
47 trying to keep it on that outside line, maybe get some help from the 15 of Daly, but it looks like he is going to lose second and potentially third as they come off into the back straightaway. Still about a 6-7 car packed up here at the front, but the 20 still trying to clear the 47, and he will, and now he'll fall into the clutches of the 15, so it looks like that fall-off is already starting to happen for the 47.
Yeah, this track's really bad on tires, isn't it, Carlos? And that's just something you're going to see tonight is, you know, the drivers on fresher tires, they're going to storm by you, but you got to be careful not to use up your tires as well. As we saw the 47 really diving it deep in these turns on the beginning of the run, he might have used up that right front a bit quicker than he wanted, but back towards the front of the field where Garrett Powell is still leading this race. But don't look now, the fastest car on the racetrack, Dylan Stipe, up to third place, and he's got a good run on Tristan Maher, but so does Travis Daly as they come off turn 4. It's a top 4, actually top 7 under a blanket.
Travis Daly thought about going to the inside of Dylan Stipe, couldn't quite get there. 95 laps to go here this evening, about 35 to go in the stage. Stage number 2, Garrett Powell still maintaining the lead as Tristan Maher, although is all over that back bumper of the 87. Expect him to maybe make a move soon as they start to close in on the soon-to-be lapped car, the 25 of Gabriel Ellison, who spun right at the beginning of this green flag run.
Yeah, and here he comes, as you see him there, on the, hopefully in the front of your screen as the leader's been coming up to him. But this field has spread itself out. It's really spread itself out, and that might be good when you think about it, but I say that, and you go back to 19th place, and it's an absolute hornet's nest, as you have a bunch of cars with damage riding around back here. 18 of Christopher Wilson, one of them. We saw him in the wall earlier. But this is where you need to worry about your wrecks happening, is back here, because you see the cars like Christopher Wilson is quicker than the other cars with damage, and if the field could just spread out, that would help the green flag situation. But with this high downforce package, even cars with damage will be able to keep up with some of the drivers who don't.
Leaders now starting to clear the lone car, the 25. Up Gabriel Ellison, a tough break for him again. 29th right now. Now the first car 1 lap down. I guess just an unfortunate situation for him. Didn't get the caution to bail him out either. So hopefully he'll be able to catch a caution and get a lucky dog and get back on the lead lap, because he has had one of the faster cars tonight for him. He
has, hasn't he? And, you know, it's a shame that, you know, it was a wreck. He was just stranded there on the inside wall. I'm surprised Tech Cup TV officials didn't decide to throw the caution for that. But nonetheless, it is what it is. It's a race, and hopefully it'll come back to the 25 car. But on the back straightaway, the top 4 drivers have definitively said, yeah, we're the top 4. They're going to be battling for the end of this stage. As Garrett Powell, Tristan Maher, Dylan Stipe, and Travis Daly are the ones rolling through 3 and 4 in a single file formation, as they're going to catch Parker Bland, who gets out of the way. And in front of them, it's still some more lap down cars to maybe get in the way.
Some action happening towards the back end of the top 10. Look at Raul Mesa on the outside right now of Justin Hendry trying to make that pass happen. He's got Dunleavy back here with him as well. Good run for him so far in that number 37 car, as he has just been on a tear so far through this one, driving the title sponsor of this race tonight, Heaven's Best Service Group.
Yeah, and he was a driver I said earlier to watch on these long runs. He's got speed in that number 37 car, but with the cautions we've been seeing, there hasn't really been opportunity for him to show his long run speed. But right now, as you can see, he's going to the inside of Craig Burns, who was actually battling for a top 5 position not too long ago. So tire wear starting to show its stuff, and whose setup is set up for the short run, and some people like Raul, who's been set up for the long run. Not much has really changed amongst our top 10. They're all within 4 seconds of the race leader. I'm trying to look further back through the field, some battling back here. Battle for 19th spot. Nathan Hall trying to take it away from Ryan Wilson, and he will, right behind the 35 of Garrett Brown. He will clear him for that spot. Further ahead of them, the 21 of Cody Jordan just got passed by the 18 of Christopher Wilson. You know, despite Jordan having no front end, and you can see the grill and all, and he's still running 16th. Not bad for a guy with no front end. No, he's got that wheel modified, doing a good job, isn't he? And we saw him. He was actually near the front of the field on that last restart. I believe he started, 7th place or something like that. So he was He's not falling off that much. He's only lost 10 positions. And oh boy, that's going to get tight as Parker Bland on the outside trying to cross him over. But yeah, he's doing a good job with that damaged race car, a little bit better than some of the other drivers in the same situation.
He's now about to be under fire from the 28 of Nathan Hall we just mentioned. Again, let's take a look here at our guys filling in. Landon Allers filling in for Nick King, 16th despite being involved in an earlier incident, so a good run for him in the 43. And then we mentioned him a minute ago, filling in for Brandon King there in the 89, James Dunleavy, up in the 7th spot with that good equipment. So good stuff out of the 89 car as he has gotten around Craig Burns for that 7th spot. Now he will try and run people down. And speaking of running people down, Raul Mesa knocking on the door of Mike Tellier for the 5th spot.
Yeah, and the 89 cars, looks like he's fixed a little bit of that rear end damage we saw earlier with his contact with Ryan Thomas earlier in this first stage that we saw not too long ago. But looks like the damage is fixed on the 89, and he's holding tough in the 7th position. But you're right, Raul Meza really starting to show his stuff on this long run as we're about halfway through this second stage now. It's lap 75 on the board. And he'll get up on the back of Mike Tellier off turn 2 and maybe have the pass done in about a lap and a half.
Really getting a good run down the backstretch. A lot of speed. He may do it in this lap, I thought, but he'll back off for now. Tellier picked a little bit of a higher line there. Mesa went lower. They're going to be side by side potentially off of turn number 4. Here comes the 37 Heaven Best Chevy Camaro of Raul Mesa. He will move up into the 5th spot. What a run so far for the driver of the number 37.
Yeah, and you might have saw one driver in pit lane there as they rolled down the front straightaway. It was Ryan Elzel in the 88. He's in 32nd position. That's going to be 4 tires and fuel for that Chevrolet Camaro. As he's not had the night he's wanted to have, but hopefully this pit strategy for him as he's going to try to split this stage in half will work out for the better for him. That really brings up the question, Carlos, so when we're going to start some of these drivers on pit lane. We know you might be able to stretch the fuel out, but is it really worth it? And maybe if you pit now, if a caution comes out, you'll be able to stay out and gain some valuable track position.
Yeah, you know, that's something we really gotta wait and see for that to happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen within the next 5 laps because we're already past the halfway point of this stage. Mind you, we went back green at about lap 56. So give it about 5 laps, and then that maybe guys will split, quote-unquote, splits the stage in half. Do want to report a couple cars out of the race. John Mullins out in 38th. He finishes last tonight. And that's about it. He's the only one that has brought the car behind the wall and has ended his night because, actually, I believe James Kunkel, who we spoke to under the last caution, he may have brought his car behind the wall and his night could be over. So 36 cars still out on the racetrack, 27 of them, 28 of them out on the lead lap with 83 laps to go as we're near the the actual halfway point of this race.
Yeah, and one driver that we were talking about earlier in this stage that needed to have a good run, well, Travis Daly has worked his way back up to 2nd place in that number 15 Camaro, showing that maybe he has a car set up for the long run. Be impressive for that 15 one. He has a good short run and long run car. So even if we get a late race caution or the race goes green, that 15 car is stout. He's got a car that could win this race, but right now it's Garrett Powell still showing that even on the long run, he's got a quick car. But Raul Meza has actually come up into my picture frame here as he's trying to chase down Dylan Stipe for 4th place.
He may get him in the next couple laps or so. Travis Daly has been running pretty much identical lap times to the race leader, Garrett Powell. They are the only ones right now on running laps inside the 33 510th mark. So that's we're gonna see how long that sticks. The only other one was Raul Mesa last time by, so my point is invalid immediately. So see here at the line, Garrett Powell that time by a 33.54. Daly that time a 33.6. That changed rather quick. But either way, Daly about a 10th slower that time, probably because he has to deal with some lap traffic here. He's trying to pass the 88 of Ryan Ezel.
Yeah, and Raul Meza's got the spot over Dylan Stipe, so move Raul up to 4th place. That 37 car has shown us that I think we can safely say he's the best long-run car on the racetrack because he started near almost outside the top 10 on that last restart and has worked his way up to 4th place on the racetrack And if this stage goes green the rest of the way, I wouldn't be so hastened to say he might be knocking on the door of the top 3 or even top 2.
Yeah, I want to give a call to him because, I know him from the Chris Cup Series we also call here on the Flatout Racing Network, and he hasn't had really the best season. He joined midway, and he didn't really have the best season so far. To see him having a great run here in the Tech Cup TV Cup Series presented by Kicking Asphalt Racing, some great guys, so it's really exciting to see him be able to strut his stuff in this series, and shows that he's got some talent. And oh boy, that was a really good run though for the 20 of Dylan Stipe off of turn number 4, and he'll take the 4th spot back from Raul Mesa.
Yeah, Raul might have been able to clip the wall there. Can't tell if he did. Doesn't look like much damage on the right side of 37, but he's going to regroup and try to pass Dylan down the back straightaway yet again. So even if it was just a little bit of a slip up there on the number 37 of Raul, he's not going to waste any time getting back around Dylan Stipe as he dives it down the inside. As maybe a blinker ahead of him. Saw a little smoke there on your screen, but looks like everyone's down and away. Oh, Raul's going to have a little bit of a peekaboo moment. He still doesn't pop back. Oh, he has popped back, and he almost had a moment because he's way back from Dylan Stipe.
It must have been a really bad moment because now he's back down to the back end of the top 10, so a tough break with the internet connection issues. On the 37, all that work has just gone away from the 37. Now he's fallen all the way back into the 9th spot. I'll try to keep it inside the top 10 through the end of this stage. Dylan Stipe, he's reclaimed 4th, but don't look now. Here comes the 89 of James Dunleavy.
Yeah, he's showing his stuff, and he's really starting to prove that just because he's filling in for Brandon King doesn't mean he can't show his stuff maybe in the future. Here in the Tech Hub TV Cup Series, we know that they have their Xfinity Series that runs on Tuesdays, and I believe he's in that, and he does a good job over there as well. So if you can run a couple races and maybe land a Cup Series ride, don't be surprised if we don't talk about this name a little bit more later in the season.
Oh, Stipe really stepped out in that corner, and that's going to easily hand the 4th spot away to the 89 of James Dunleavy. So he's got a pretty good long run car too, so if we get another green flag run here, as we have been caution-free through this stage so far, if we get another green flag run in the last half of this race, don't look now. Watch that 89, as that's a lap car. Ryan Thomas, a lap down?
Yeah, okay, so just before we started talking about the 89 of Dunleavy there, the 32 car of Ryan Thomas did come down pit lane and take 4 tires and fuel. So he effectively has split this stage where he needs to, and he might get his lap back just based on speed here, but he did come down and take 4 tires and fuel in the number 32 Toyota.
Looks like he had to repair some damage as well. As you see the speed differences here, running 180 down the back. Ryan Ezel running about 160, so about a 20-mile-an-hour difference, as he will try to get his lap back the old-fashioned way, if you will, as a
Powell just about had a moment on the front straightaway of passing 2 lap cars 3 wide. Oh my lord, he almost got involved with that. And now Travis Daly's going to have to deal with these 2 cars running side by side ahead of him. But big moment there for Garrett Powell, as he almost had I don't know if call it an incident, but it wasn't what he wanted to see in front of his mirror.
Daly's got to try and work around these same guys, the 55 of Jeff Carlson, way up on the racetrack is the 15, along with him there, the other lap car, the 30 of Justin Belmonte, who's actually going to become the first car off the lead lap. And then watch that 32 here. Look at that speed difference, as he's got to be careful there. He had to he almost got into the back of the 15 here, and this is going to mess up the 15, who was trying to run down the 87.
Yeah, and you could tell he shut the door on 32 there off turn 2. Didn't really appreciate anything Ryan Thomas had to offer there, as Ryan Thomas just going to fly around the outside. Look at the speed difference there on old and new tires. And he's going to try to get his lap back, like you said, the old-fashioned way, as he's chasing down Garrett Powell. As we have a few drivers on pit lane about deeper in the field. Caleb Levenier, the number 7, and I believe the 18 of Christopher Wilson down on pit lane getting 4 tires and fuel. So seeing a couple of these drivers back in the pack taking the strategy of pitting now and maybe staying out at the end of the stage. But we'll see how that plays out, as right now Garrett Powell still leads. As you see right here, Ryan Thomas is going to fly by him in turn 3 and 4.
Goes right around him there, does the 32 of Ryan Thomas. Gets it down to 1 lap down now. He was 2 laps down previously. Now should be able to get around Christopher Wilson, pending on where he is now on the racetrack after coming out of the pits. They're on the same straight, so he should be able to pick up some spots. But the more Garrett Powell laps, the least chances that Ryan Thomas has to gain that lucky dog spot. Right now in the catbird seat, Ford would be the 30 of Justin Belmonte. So we'll have to document that as we are, wow, suddenly 10 laps away from the end of stage 2.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of cars on older tires struggle for grip. Just saw the 48 ahead of the leader lose it off turn 4, almost spinning it to the inside wall, but he saved it, and he'll continue on as Garrett Powell now continues his circuits around. 92 laps down here at Homestead Miami Speedway as we're nearing the end of the second stage, and maybe Garrett Powell sweeping the 2 stages tonight would really put 2 points in his pocket as we continue later on into this race.
Chevy Camaro continues to run. Do want to document Dylan Stipe. He's fallen away all the way back into the 8th position here. A little bit of a group here from Craig Burns down to Stipe as the 46 Raisin Canes machine is going to drive right by him. Caution is out!
Yeah, and that's going to be the break that some of these drivers were looking for, as we documented Dylan Stipe being 8th, but how about Raul Mezda? Had that little bit of an incident off turn 4 battling Dylan Stipe. Has worked his way back to the 7th place.
Lucky Dog's going to go to the 48 of Cole Maxwell. So it'll give us 21 cars on the lead lap when we go back green. Trying to figure out why we are under the yellow here, right at the end of this second stage.
Yeah, I am as well.
And one of the 57 of Jordan the Hawk, he was just ahead of him here, so not rightfully sure what could have been.
Yeah, I can't tell you why we're under caution, but we are, and that will keep Garrett Powell in the race lead. We'll see if he stays out or pits. I'm obviously saying everyone's going to pit here. I mean, you'd be an absolute, jackhammer if you don't, but well, you might see some strategy. We saw some of these drivers pit earlier, and maybe look at the waiver on here, but hopefully we should see all lead lap cars coming down pit lane this time, as the 87 is on point, as indeed he does, brings it down. He's going to drag everyone with him, try to see if anyone stays out, and looks like everyone in the top 7 are coming down pit lane. Try to see where Dylan Stipe is. Indeed, he does come down, so everyone in the top 10 coming down pit lane here on lap 95 now of this race, with 5 left in the stage. We might get a 1 or 2 lap shootout to end the stage.
Couldn't quite figure out why we're under the yellow, so we're just going to let it go and just, well, folks, we're under the yellow. It may have just been a single car incident. So let's see here. A few cars chose to stay out, but Garrett Powell, he will come off a pit lane first, with Travis Daly 2nd, Tristan Maher 3rd, James Dunleavy 4th, Dylan Stipe still in the pits, so we're still waiting. No, he'll be 5th. And then Craig Burns 6th, Justin Hendry 7th off the pits. And that is really it. So the cars that stayed out. Ooh, this is going to be a really interesting restart. Top 5, Austin Harger, Daniel Holdcroft, Deshaun Gorham, Landon Allers, and Cody Jordan.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting top 5, isn't it? When you think about it, we know Cody Jordan does have that wheelie modified. We noted that earlier in our notes here. So he's got damage on the front end of that 21 Chevrolet Camaro. And we look a little bit higher up. You got Deshaun Gorham. Looks like he has a lot of cars now coming down pit lane. Yeah, that's interesting to see some of these drivers stay out. We've ran so long in this stage, Carlos, that these old tires, no way they're going to be able to hold off the new tires, but maybe we're thinking that with this track position and maybe a 1 or 2 lap shootout, they might be able to hold on for a good end of the stage?
Possibly. That's the only logical thing I can think of. Because I'm looking here, we're either going to have a 2-lap shootout or a 3-lap shootout, and with the speed that Garrett Powell has had in this race, that's more than enough time to take the lead back before the end of the stage. But don't look now. He's going to have to restart on the outside of row number 3 which I'm sure is not an incredible spot he was used to under the last restart because he got a good run on the inside. It's going to be Travis Daly that's going to be on the inside instead as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this one.
No, but he's on such new tires, Carlos. That outside line might be his saving grace. He'll be able to get up against the wall and just flat-footed around 1 and 2, and he might clear for almost second place, hopefully off turn 2. If my experience on this racetrack says anything, with that big of a difference on tires, he could easily breeze by these guys by just going to the outside and passing them all around the outside.
Now we're going to have to think about this too. How aggressive is going to be the 16, 26, and 66 on this restart? They know a playoff point. Just one little measly playoff point is on the line. But you know that could be the difference between you making the playoffs and not. I know this is the first race of the year, but you have to think that is in the mind of anyone who's trying to make a gun at the playoff spot and get by winning the stage. So, and it's looking like we're going to have a 2-lap shootout here, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and, that playoff point could make a difference. We say this a lot in Formula 1 when I do commentate that a little bit later, but usually you have, your midfield battle, right? And that 1 point could be the big difference at the end of the season if your manufacturer is ahead of all the others. And that's the same principle here. Let's say you're the 66 of Deshaun Gordon, and you have that one playoff point, and you go into the playoffs. Then when we restack it for the playoffs, you go from maybe just making it in all the way up to maybe 8th on the playoff chart because you have that 1 point that maybe no one else has. So those playoff points, it doesn't seem like a lot, maybe getting 1 or 2 in a couple of races, but when you think about the rest of the drivers who might not get them, that is a huge deal, and some of these drivers might just strategize around that, as we're seeing here with Austin Harger in the 16, leading them down as we get the 1 to go this time by.
Wave around cars will take the wave around. We're going to have 21, as I said, on the lead lap here for this restart. Top 10, Austin Harger, Daniel Holdcroft, Deshaun Gorham, Landon Allers, and then Cody Jordan. That was the 5 that stayed out. Then Garrett Powell, Travis Daly, Tristan Maher, James Dunleavy, and then Dylan Stipe. Oh boy, it is going to get really, really, there's no other really word for it other than interesting to whether Austin Harger can hold off arguably the quickest car all night long to try and win stage number 2 and get that much coveted playoff point.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm just going to play that now. It's going to be tough, but also quite dangerous. We've seen in the past that these difference in tires could lead to, unnecessary incidents. That maybe a driver doesn't have the grip in turn 3, slides up the racetrack, and someone with new tires tries to fill a gap, and then you get your wrecks that you don't really need to have on the racetrack. But saying what I need to say, pace car is going to roll through 3 and 4. It's going to be Austin Harger and Daniel Holdcroft, the names we haven't really speaked about much tonight, but here they are, going to lead us down to a 2-lap sprint to the end of the stage. Stage 2 and a playoff point on the line. Pace car hits the pit lane, and Austin Harger going to watch the wheel spin. Green flag in the air, and Garrett Powell wasting no time to the outside. He's going to clear for 3rd. Almost 2nd place into turn 1, and he will. He'll get 2nd place into turn 1. He'll go after Austin Harger as they roll through 1 and 2.
Still side by side with the 66. The thing that Harger would hope for is a quick caution. They head down the back straightaway. He's going to be doing a lot of mirror driving. Here comes, though, he's not even going to make it a challenge. Here comes Garrett Powell to the inside of Harger. He makes the pass, and that is going to more than likely be all she wrote for that spot. Travis Daly going to roll through the corner here. Careful.
Oh, big wreck in the back. Dylan Stipe. The field's going to pile into this one. Craig Burns in the wall. Hard. And a lot of good cars involved in this wreck. That is almost the whole field, Carlos, involved in this wreck. Oh, and that was just, like I said, exactly what I said. New versus old tires, unnecessary wrecks. And that's going to collect a lot of this field and a lot of good cars.
Dylan Stipe was the car you mentioned back there. The, oh my goodness, now the Raising Cane's car has no hood whatsoever, so you can't even tell it is, but, oh my goodness, an incredible accident on the front straightaway, taking out 12, 14 cars. Greg Burns, one of them involved, his car is blowing up. Cody Jordan, he was involved, he was up at the front as well, so that is going to change the shift of our top group for the rest of this race. This happening right at the end of the stage as Garrett Powell, he'll come down and he will win stage number 2 with that one.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough. That is exactly what I was talking about. Just these older tires versus new tires. Oh, and it's just collected a lot of good cars there, unfortunately. And I'm looking to see what. Oh, that's on Dylan Stipe. Oh, that is not a good sign for the 20 car. Yeah, that's all on Dylan Stipe. He comes from the bottom of the racetrack and just slowly comes up and collects Tristan Maher. And, oh, man, a lot of good cars, Carlos, out of this race. And that's going to, like you said, that's going to change the dynamic of this race completely and see who might have a car that could challenge Garrett Powell now.
Good Lord, you weren't kidding. That was the whole field.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that were able to try and slow up for the incident. Yeah, that is really on the 20. He had a great run through the corner, passing a bunch of cars, trying to get as many spots as he could. And, well, what do you know? Tristan Maher was right there above him. And that was really all she wrote for a ton of great race cars tonight. And that is, folks, why we're under our 8th caution, which is going to be for the caution and the stage here tonight at Homestead.
Yeah, and it's rare you see big ones like this at 1.5 miles, isn't it? I mean, it's rare for me to say the whole field at Homestead, but there it is as they come off turn 4, and oh man. But now we got to think about exactly where we're at in this race, and the top 3, in my opinion, have the best shot at the win now compared to everyone else. That'd be Garrett Powell, Travis Daly, and Mike Tellier. Pretty much with the only clean cars left on the racetrack after a big incident off turn 4 to end the stage, and Garrett Powell sweeping both stages so far here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Riding on board there with the 12 of Craig Burns, man, he took a well of a ride through that wreck. Effectively, his night is going to come to an end with that incident, as the same's going to go for a lot of other drivers. I can't even count, Warren, how many were involved. I'm going to just assume 14, 15 cars.
It's a big list, and if we had a graphic for that, I don't even think we could fit all the cars on that graphic. That's how many cars were involved in that wreck. And even if they weren't involved in that first wreck, we saw a lot of the lap-down cars from the back, kind of pile drive again into that wreck unnecessarily. So, man, it's one of those rare incidences where you're going to have a graphic that's going to show about 25 cars involved in that wreck.
We approach the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast. We got about inside 60 laps to go this evening. Out of all that, your top 10 is Garrett Powell, Travis Daly, Mike Tellier, Jerry Culver, Deshaun Gorham, James Dunleavy. I'm looking through here how they've all pitted. James Dunleavy, then Cody Jordan, Austin Harger, Raul Mesa, and a car that was a lucky dog just on the last caution, Cole Maxwell. He is up to 10.
Yeah, and now we're getting down to the point of this race to where we have so many damaged race cars who might have missed that wreck. Now they're looking at top 10 finishes. Like we said, I mean, you got, Nathan Hall in the 28. Don't really talk about him much tonight, but there he is, 12th place. Cole Maxwell had that incident at the beginning. He's 14th in a 48, and he's on pit road fixing damage. Garrett Davis in the 97 on pit road fixing damage, and guess where he is? P16. So, maybe the top 7th place is Cody Jordan with a wheel modified, basically on the front of that car. And but Austin Harger is going to be on the good end of that. He restarted near the front of this pack. He missed that huge wreck, so that track position really did pay off for the 16 car.
Really, him and Deshaun Gordon were really the only benefactors out of that whole caution happening before the end of the stage. So wow. So a really good break for them. Pace car lights are out. We'll go green. Lap 105 of 60. 56 to go to close out tonight's race. So officially your top 10. Garrett Powell, Travis Daly, Mike Tellier, Jerry Culver, and then the 89, or excuse me, no, the 66 of Deshaun Gorham, then James Dunleavy, and then Cody Jordan, Austin Harger, Raul Mesa, and Landon Allers. That will be your top 10 when we go back green here. Oh boy, Garrett Powell, he's sitting in a really good spot, but he's got 2 hungry race cars behind him, Warren, Travis Daly, and Mike Tellier.
Yeah, and probably the only 2 race cars that really have the speed to keep up with Garrett Powell is those 2 in the front and second row. But you know what? I take that back. James Dunleavy has really shown he's had speed tonight, and he could be someone we need to watch out for later in this race to really battle back and try to win this race on pit strategy, as now we're going to be coming down to 56 laps to go in this race. And Garrett Powell coming around turn 3 and 4 with a pace car, about to hit the pit lane. Cars trying to decide where they're going to restart in the back there. It's just the 48 car trying to say, no, I'm in this line. But nonetheless, Garrett Powell is green flag in the air, and he'll get a good launch on Travis Daly as he tries to block Mike Tellier for third place. And Tellier's going to get the inside run on Daly as they head through 1 and 2.
Tellier getting a really, really good run there as they will break away from everybody else. They'll remain side by side as they head down the back. James Dunleavy has gotten 3 of the slower machines, and he is up the 4th. Austin Harger trying to make passes too. He is working his way back through. He's going to try and take 6th away from Jerry Culver there. The Copenhagen Chevy trying to maintain on the outside.
Wrecking the back, hate to break you off there. Crystal Wilson hard on the wall. Oh, and they're still piling in. We're still wrecking here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We're not even at Talladega yet, Carlos. And we've got all these cars damaged.
Clint Leatherwood again involved in yet another incident. You mentioned Christopher Wilson. He's back here. The 24 of David Durand. He's back here as well. A lot of torn up race cars.
Yeah, and like I said, we have Talladega on the schedule. And Carlos, this is starting to look like Talladega, buddy. And we're not even at Talladega. It's at Homestead Miami Speedway that so many cars are involved in these wrecks tonight. A good half the field is either damaged or going to be out of this race after we're all said and done. But that was all just because of, yet again, damaged versus non-damaged cars really being the cause of that one and just not knowing the speed difference.
91 of James Kunkel, and then Steve Kerpel made Christopher Wilson a sandwich. There's the 30 of Belmonte getting involved, the 22. There's the 19 of Dylan Hastings trying to slow up and avoid the incident. So, man, really, it was just a case of a chain reaction there. And like I said, the 5 and the 91 who have been in incidents tonight previously just made the 18 a sandwich, and they collected a couple other good race cars.
Yeah, and this is I thought we were going to say last time by that that was going to be the last time we are going to see caution tonight because of how many cars were damaged and not damaged. Maybe to spread out this field, but unfortunately I was proven wrong yet again. As we're under caution, lap 107 on 160, stage 3, Garrett Powell, your leader, followed by Travis Daly, Mike Tellier. James Dunleavy has made his way back up to 4th, and 5th place was Deshaun Gorham at 66, who was taking advantage of all the chaos tonight and is having a great run in that 66 Chevrolet.
Ryan Thomas, he'll be the lucky dog under this caution. You'll see the restart on the other side of this break here on the Flatout Racing Network. Don't go away, folks. There's a lot more action here to happen tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. lights are out atop the pace car. We'll go green with 50 laps to go here tonight, Warren, and it's going to be, well, hopefully we've worked our last caution, but you never know.
Yeah, the way it's been going tonight, I don't think we're going to have another shot at a caution here. We might, but, you know, this is the point of the race where I'm going to start saying, you know, who's the factors and who's not. And we just talked about it while we were on the commercial break. You need to watch Austin Harger in that 16. You know, he might not have the speed to win this race, but we've seen him with that strategy that we thought was a little off black, but seems like it's worked out the best for him. And he might pull strategy to get back towards the front of the race later. And right behind him, Raul Meza, we saw he had the long run speed early. Doesn't have to worry about Dylan Stipe or anyone else getting in his way. And now he'll be able to set his sights on the leaders as we'll come to complete lap 110, as we'll be getting the 50 laps to go. Pace car going to hit the inside pit lane wall, as almost he does every time. And Garrett Powell wasting no time. He'll get under green flag and take off, as Mike Taylor's going to try to complete the mission he had last time around and get to the inside of Daly as they head through 1 and 2, side by side for second place.
Tellier, I think he might be able to clear him this time. Yes,
Oh.
He will. Car sideways. Deshaun Gorham down in the grass says he has saved it, but that is going to cost him a mess load of spots.
And I tell you what, Mike Taylor wasn't clear. That was a front end bump from Travis Daly down the back straightaway from here in my perch in turn 1 and 2. That was a bump and go for Mike Taylor. He was not clear, but Travis Daly let him go that time by. That could have been big if he wasn't just clear by just enough.
He maintains second for the time being, trying to hold off Daly. Coming now into fourth, James Dunleavy a few car lengths behind these guys, trying to run them down. Austin Harger, he's up to fifth. Mesa up 2 spots since the drop of the green flag, as he's going to try and set his sights on the 16 and make a move forward. But this is all happening behind Garrett Powell as the battle is back on for second. Here comes Travis.
Travis has a good run on the inside, and I think he has the quicker car, but Mike Taylor just gets a better shot off the launch there and be able to clear Travis Daly on those restarts, but Travis Daly gets the good run once the tires go up to temp. And if Raul Meza is already up to 6th place and about to go past Austin Harger for 5th, if he's doing that now, and if we go green the rest of the way, oh boy, watch out for that 37 car, because we've already documented how quick he is on the long run, and man, he's not getting much room there off turn 4, but he's going to try to set his sights on Austin Harger in 1 and 2.
Mesa is going to continue to just roll through the corner there in the same line as Harger. Gap now starting to shrink between the 87 and the 15. It's about 0.3 of a second between them. Daly just trying to cut down and run that same line and hopefully try to run him down. He would love to have some help, but he just doesn't really have it right now. The top 5, a little bit of a breakaway, but Dunleavy's starting to catch the 3 of Mike Tellier.
Yeah, he's starting to catch him, isn't he? And we still in that 81 car. Even though he does have the replacement there of Dunleavy, like I said earlier, has the car that could try to get maybe the win this race on pit strategy. So the 89 can get by Mike Tellier, as the battle for the lead is actually almost starting to heat up now as they head to 3 and 4. As Daly has shown that, yes, I do have the car speed to win this race, as he's on the back bumper of Powell, but really you could throw the top 6 under a blanket. I mean, the 16 and 37 are a little bit behind, but they're close enough to these leaders. If one driver makes a mess up, they're there.
15 is there, didn't really take a good run through that corner, so he's going to lose a little bit of ground on the 87 of Garrett Powell. But if they get side by side, that's going to open the door for the 3 and the 89 to start making moves at them. It's just a matter of time of when the tire wear is going to come into play, and that is when Raul Mesa is at his best there in the 37. Would love a long green flag run here, because he has had the stuff tonight. As here comes the 15, thought about there in turn 1, didn't make the pass. He'll try and set him up for 3 and 4 as they head to the back.
Yeah, he's going to try to set him up, and he's got a good little run off turn 2, but just not good enough of a run to get behind Garrett Powell and make a move, as he'll draft up. And as you see right there, he'll always draft up, but the dirty air from Garrett Powell will just not let him have the shot to get alongside him in the corners. 2 lap down cars are ahead of our leaders, and they will very graciously get out of the way of our leaders as they roll down back towards turn number 1. And as you can see, the 15 of Daly gets a good entry, but Garrett Powell is just able to roll the center and get off the corner just a bit better to keep the 15 behind them for now.
They clear the lap traffic. Top 6 still really not quite under the blanket unless you want to make it a really big throw-over blanket. The gap between them is now 2 seconds. Daly much better through 3 and 4 that time, as he's going to have a good run here off of the corner. He's going to maybe try and set up Powell, but that dirty air once again playing a factor. He's going to try it. Powell slams the door as they head through 1 and 2 with 42 to go.
I tell you what, Daly will let him do it now. But later in this race, if Powell were to slam that door, we might see another Ryan Thomas incident on a run-in on the back straightaway. But Powell actually blocks him down the back straightaway. Powell knows that this spot is very important right now in this race. As we're coming to lap 120, Powell's going to be able to get the run off the turn 4, but Daly going to try to cross over. Not going to happen. Powell gets to run on the high side, and it'll still be Powell for now across the line. But Daly looking on the inside. There he goes to the inside. Powell going to try to shut him down to the bottom of the racetrack. It's side by side. Little loose is the 15, but the 87 is going to be able to power off and hopefully keep that position off turn 2. Indeed he does. The 15 is going to have to fall back in line.
Really good job by the 87 to just pinch the 15 down through the corner and not allow him much air to blow by him. He's going to get really close to the back bumper, trying to get the 87 loose. But instead, the 15 has to back off. And now it is back to where they were at. Mike Tellier and James Dunleavy just laying in wait, seeing what's going to happen between these two and when they're going to have a chance to pounce here. As we got 40 laps to go, they head back towards the back straightaway. Another lap car ahead, shouldn't be too much of a problem, and then it's a lot of clean air as the battle is now on for third. Here comes James Dunleavy, but I'm not going to talk about it really because, man, the 87 just made another big block. 15 on the apron as they head to the front.
The 15 of Travis Daly is getting very annoyed with Garrett Powell throwing these blocks. We just saw him dive it down to turn 3, maybe to take the air off the 87, maybe to give him a bump and tell you, no, I don't appreciate that. We'll never know unless we talk to him later in this race after a podium. But right now, it is still the 87 and the 15 off turn 2. And the 15 going to try to set him up once again. Gets the draft on the back, lap car on the inside this time. Nowhere to go for the 15. And they're going to go down to turn 3 and let the inside car go. As the 15 is going to try to get a run on the outside, but I don't think it's going to work. Garrett Powell going to hold on, but the battle for third, before we had that go on, is indeed heating up as Mike Tellier and James Dunleavy and Austin Harcher getting in this battle now as head down towards turn 1.
They'll get around the lap car of Daniel Holdcroft, who was up front earlier. The battle will continue raging, and that is why the 15 of Harger has started to catch these guys. Dunleavy going to try to get the run off the corner. He's not going to get it. He's going to have to try again through 3 and 4 to complete the pass. Around the outside, though, at the front, here comes Daly. But the 87 took the line away from him for a minute. Let's see if the 15 gets a good enough run to where he can cross over on the front stretch.
Here he comes. To the wall.
Going to keep it on the outside. Not a lot of space. The 87 slams the door. 15 with a crossover as they head through 1.
15 is going to get to the inside of Garrett Powell. I tell you right now, he's not going to let him get much room off turn 4 after these last couple laps. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. This is the battle we wanted to see after the big wreck earlier, and also the green flag run we wanted to see. This is amazing stuff. Shame it took this long to get here, but here we go. Contact! Garrett Powell ain't going to be happy.
Oh, man, I don't know if the 15 just washed up into him or the 87 didn't give him any room at all, but moved the 15 of Travis Daly to the point with 36 laps to go, and Powell lost a lot of speed, and now the 89, the 3, and the 16 are going to be right there with him.
Oh, man. 87 ain't going to be happy with that. But he had it coming. I mean, he had it coming. He was blocking so much down the back straightaway those last couple laps before that. But, man, the 15 of Daly showing him that the elbows are out here at Homestead for the win here. As now Powell is now back in uncharted territory, trying to defend from third place James Dunleavy as they rocket down towards turn 1. And Travis Daly has actually opened up a nice little about 2-second lead over these guys.
Reminder, Dunleavy, Tellier, and Dunleavy and Harger both have a little bit fresher tires. I know it's not going to really matter at this point, but, you know, that's always a factor as well, as the 89 has got his sights set on the 87, but I'm sure the 87's not really worried about him right now. He's worried about running down that 15 again.
Yeah, he's worried about running down that 15, but now he's got to be worried because, you know, he's in striking distance of the drivers behind him, like you said, Mike Tellier, Austin Harger, who actually has held on to a nice 5th place run here for Austin Harger after not being talked about all night, except for that restart. But here he is, 5th place. Good run for that 16 Ford. I believe that's a Chevy Camaro. That's throwing me off just a bit, but through 3 and 4 they go. Lap cars playing a little bit of a factor in this battle for 3rd place. Is James Dunleavy trying to get near Garrett Powell, but the lap car is going to make him force down to the inside line. And Raul Meza has not shown the pace yet that we saw earlier on that long run.
He's way back in 6th right now, 3.2 seconds off these leaders. He is in the view of Austin Harger, so he's within a second. So I think that it might start coming to him now. That long run speed. So what he's going to want to see is this go green all the way to the end, because it's going to be really close. I think the furthest I've seen guys push it tonight is about 49-50 laps. He's on lap 28 right now. It would put him at 60, so I don't think it would get him to the end if he were to try and stay out.
Yeah, and that makes up the other question of when you come down for this last pit stop, do you take tires? Because we know how much quicker the fuel stop is compared to tires, but you'd have to. I mean, just the speed differential you're going to have is going to be absolutely outstanding. So that really brings up the point. Do you take rights and maybe shortcut that pit stop and risk it? It's going to be real interesting if we have to make that pit stop. It's 13 car off pit lane. Jerry Culver not had the race he's had tonight, but he's running P15. Good top 20 run for that 13 car as Travis Daly in the 15 comes off turn 2 and continues to slowly extend that gap. But the last couple laps, Garrett Powell's been able to hold it off and keep it within 1.5 seconds.
Gap right now at about 1 second and 4/10. He's starting to break away a little bit from James Dunleavy, trying to get that space established so he can focus on the 15, but the 15 is just continuing to drive away. And that just tells me this, that Powell's car is starting to get away from him, and Daly was able to make that pass, not really with ease, but make it really well. But the problem right now for Travis Daly, he has got 3 lap cars he's got to contend with. He clears the 20 of Dylan Stipe. What a horrible night he's had after being good so early on. But back to Daly, he's got to be concerned here dealing with this lap traffic. He clears the 50 of Ryan Wilson. Now he can set his sights on the lap car. Last car on the lead lap, soon to be the first car 1 lap down of Cody Jordan in 13.
Yeah, we'll see how Garrett Powell gets around these lap cars. He hasn't caught him yet. And he's doing something different than Travis Daly. Travis Daly's running the higher side in 1 and 2, and Garrett Powell is trying to run the bottom as he'll easily get by Dylan Stipe and maybe even the 50 at turn 3 and 4. Indeed he does. He'll be down at the bottom and clear that 50 car. But the 50 car holding on tight on the high side in that damaged number 50 Napa Auto Parts Camaro. But off turn 4, he'll be side by side, and Garrett Powell will indeed pass him. So we'll see how this runs out. But the 15 car has been running just a bit higher, but this time by, he goes down to the bottom. So maybe trying a little bit of space there for the 15, trying to see where his car's best.
87 now, about 1.5 seconds now as he lost the 10 trying to clear these lap cars. 15, he's going to deal with 1 more. And then I believe he has got clear sailing for a little bit as, whoa, the 21's going to fight the 87 here, a race leader.
Yeah.
He's the 1 car 1 lap down, but wow, he's racing the 2nd place car of Garrett Powell.
Yeah, he did. I don't think Garrett's really happy right now. I wouldn't be. I don't know. I should say that. I mean, like I said, Garrett was getting a little aggressive as well, so aggressive goes aggressive. But that 21 car has no space to be battling the 87 like that, and the 42 will just let the 87 go on the straightaway. Good move there for the 42 car of, I believe, look at my chat here, or chat this. If I find the 42, I'll give him a name, but good move by the 42 to get out of the way there for the 87 to get by.
I believe that is, I'm going to try and gamble here, that is, no, that's Cole Maxwell, sorry, hit the wrong thing. Either way, Travis Daly, he's now opened the gap to about 1 second and 7/10. As when they come around, it'll be 25 laps to go. We're going to head to our final commercial break. You're not going to miss a thing as we'll go side by side. After that, we'll take you all the way to the finish of this one. Here tonight, the Heaven's Best Service Group 160 from Homestead Miami Speedway in the season opener of the TechHub.TV Cup Series as we head side by side. 21 laps to go here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway, closing in to the final 20 of this one. Garrett Powell has come to the pits. Green flag pit stops underway here at the tail end of this one. The guy who has dominated the majority of tonight's race gets into his stall cleanly, slid it a little bit, but he's good. He's going to go with, I believe, the 4 tires. Let's see if he does. And indeed he will.
Yeah, but that's going to bring everyone else down. Like, this is a little bit of a short pit, to be fair, but this will bring everyone else down, as indeed Travis Daly on pit lane, wasting no time to break that undercut, and he'll come down to get his 4 tires in fuel, maybe 4 tires in fuel. We'll wait and see, as he hasn't even entered his box yet. He very nicely gets it in, very cleanly. That's going to bring as well James Dunleavy down.
89! I thought he overshot his pit box. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong pit box. I thought he overshot it. My mistake. Anyway, Daly's out in the way.
You give me a heart attack like that. What's wrong with you?
I wasn't trying to.
Oh, dear. Well, we'll have to see how that undercut works, because Garrett Powell's through 1 and 2 now, and Travis Daly's on the back straightaway, getting up to speed. So we'll see what that undercut does. Maybe he'll get back to him. But with now they're on equal tires again, this is going to be a battle for the win. Hopefully we get to see all the way through, as Raul Meza and Mike Tellier are actually staying out longer, trying to maybe catch a caution here. I don't know why they would stay out this long, but to be fair, I mean, so many cars are a lap down now. They're going to get a top 10 regardless, so not a bad strategy.
So the 15 and the 87 have gotten around Tellier to get their quote-unquote lap back. So now that Tellier just has really nothing else to lose at this point, because he's 1.3 seconds ahead of Matt Mesa. And Mesa can go a little bit further than the others can, but the thing that's going to hurt him is whenever he pits, he is not going to be up to speed with the 15 and 87, so they might as well pit now and just accept the inevitable, as, yep, there it is. Here comes the 3.
I tell you what, though, Garrett Powell's put on the afterburners. He's catching up to 15. Must not have made it a good adjustment on that last stop, because he can't even get around the 13. He's losing a ton of time. Here comes Garrett Powell. He shot out of a cannon down the back straightaway. He's going to get to the 15's bumper, maybe even pass him by turn 3. To the outside goes Garrett Powell. And around the outside, maybe contact, as they roll through 3 and 4 side by side for the lead.
15 sideways through turn number 4, and that's going to kill all that momentum. The 87 of Garrett Powell, he has retaken the race lead here with 17 laps to go.
And you know, we didn't even see it because you screamed in my ear, and I almost lost my brain. The reason why the 15 doesn't have the pace, right side tires only on that 15. He gambled, and it did not pay off for the 15. Right side tires compared to the 4 on Garrett Powell.
And that might have been the move of the race for the 87 of Garrett Powell. He is going to hit the line here, and the gap between him and Daly is going to be about 1.48 seconds. It's 3.9 back to Dunleavy. So Garrett Powell made the move that he needed to, and it paid off for him big time, as he is going to be sitting in the catbird seat at this point to win this thing, barring we don't have a yellow.
Yeah, if we do get a yellow, that's going to bring everyone back to Garrett Powell. So as much as Garrett Powell loves to have this gap now, if we do get a caution, I tell you right now, that 15 car is not going to let him go dead rights to the end of this race without a pit stop. So Garrett Powell might be leading right now. Travis Daly might be in second place. I tell you right now, look back in third. James Dunleavy, he did take 4 tires on that pit stop, and he might be a threat for second place within about 2 laps.
Pace is definitely slowed now. Both of Powell and Daly, they are both in clean air now, not dealing with lap traffic. Watching the 87 here, he's going to have a good amount of lap traffic in front of him. I don't know how well they are spread out. Looks like they're pretty well spread out, so he should be able to navigate them well with 15 laps to go. And then after that, he's got a little bit more clean air, so he is looking pretty good right now. Is that number 87? I don't know. They're a little side by side in front of him.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll get by him. He'll get by the 24. He'll get by the 25, and he'll get by the 47 of this lap as he dives down into turn 3, and the 47 gives him the right to the inside. So Garrett Powell wasting no time getting by lap cars, as Dylan Stipe is now the next one in his mirror, in his windshield, I should say, and wasting no time behind him as well as the 15 Travis Daly. But I don't understand why you would take 2 tires if you're the 15. You know 4 tires is going to be the way to go, but yeah, well, strategy is what strategy is, and sometimes you just don't pay off. And now he's going to be under threat from James Dunleavy off turn 2 as he's closing the gap really quickly.
How about the run for the 89 of James Dunleavy, filling in for Brandon King tonight, and really proved that he has a place in the Cup Series. He runs in the Xfinity Series for the Tech Hub group, and he is definitely made the appeal to the Cup Series that it is viable for him to drive in the Cup Series. So I don't think this is going to be the last time we'll see him this season in the Cup Series. He definitely could be making a run in the Xfinity Championship too, so expect him to be a definite factor, if not this season, but next season as well. A great run for him in 3rd place. And then the other guy that was running with him tonight, Landon Allers, 8th place. Last car on the lead lap right now, soon to be caught by our leader, the 87 of Garrett Powell. But how about him filling in for Nick King, 8th place tonight, and that might be where he stays. So a great run for Landon as well.
Yeah, our 2 backup drivers really doing a good job tonight. But to be fair, I mean, they've really got the long end of the stick on that one when you think about how many cautions we've had, how many cars are damaged, if or out of this race. So, you know, as much as we like to say they did a good job tonight, I think they also had a little bit of a helping hand on that front as well to get them these good finishes. But credit where credit's due, that's going to help the 89 car as he actually passed Travis Daly that last lap by and will get up to 2nd place. And maybe set his sights for Garrett Powell. It's going to be a lot of tall order to ask, but he's up to 2nd. If a caution comes out, that might be something we need to look into.
Gap at 3.4 seconds, and that's about where it's staying. They're both running at pretty much identical lap times, is both the 87 and the 89, so that's not what the 89 wants, so he'll definitely need a yellow to get back into contention for a win tonight in a race he's just replacing in. 9 laps to go. Daly's still hanging with him. One guy that is really cutting the gap down quick on these guys is Mike Tellier. It's a 4-second gap, I realize that, but he has been slowly chipping away at both of them, so watch Mike Tellier in the next few laps to possibly be a factor to get a top 3 finish.
Yeah, and he stayed out longer on that last cycle, along with Raul Meza, who, look at the track, yeah, he's about half a lap down now. But Mike Tellier stayed a little bit longer. So he's got fresher tires than the drivers ahead of him now. Not by much, but, you know, we've seen earlier in this race, by just maybe 5 laps, those fresh tires can make a difference in a long run. So you're right, we might have to see Mike Tellier catch these guys, but time's running out as we're under 7 laps to go here at Homestead.
Travis Daly's gotten back around James Dunleavy for the 2nd spot, so they trade spots, and that's just going to benefit the 87 of Garrett Powell, and it's going to benefit the 3 as he tries to pursue those guys. Now has the gap inside 3 seconds with 7 to go. So, man, I'm just looking through here, trying to find some guys to give a call to. Austin Harger, 6th place running right now, and that might be where he stays. A great run, gambled early on, and then caught that caution that ended stage 2 that has kept him near inside the top 10 ever since. So great run for him. Garrett Brown, he's been really quiet tonight. 7th place in that Subway number 35 Toyota. He's coming out 7th, and then guys off the lead lap. Nathan Hall, he's been quiet tonight. He gets 9th. He'll hopefully come out 9th. And then Cole Maxwell caught that lap down early, got a lucky dog. He's down a lap again, but he is running 10th right now. Is set for a top 10 to kick off the season. So great runs for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, one driver who really has had a night not to remember is the 21 Cody Joran and the 55 of Jeff Carlson. Those 2 drivers were involved in our lap 1 incident that really ruined their nights. But now, since everyone's been in incidents and wrecked out, they're running P15 and P14 on the racetrack. So good rebounds for those 2 drivers who've had, in my opinion, the worst night of their careers having to deal with the damaged car since lap 1. So good for them sticking it out, getting the damage fixed on those cars, and running well within the top 15 now as we close down near the end of this race.
Garrett Powell right now trying to get around the lap car of the soon-to-be lap car of Landon Allers. They're going to split a couple lap cars 3 wide. The 26 of Holdcroft and then the 22 of Clint Leatherwood. But the 87 having a little trouble getting around him. He's lucky he's got that good gap because it's not really going to hurt him too bad. Daly and Dunleavy are dealing with their own drama. So, He'll now get to the inside. I think Allers is like, all right, I'll let you go. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, that 43 is hanging tough on the outside, isn't he?
Yeah, he's sticking it. The gap's still 3.2 seconds back to Travis Daly, and they still have to deal with lap traffic themselves, so this is not going to be an issue for Garrett Powell as he is going to roll through the corner here. He'll clear the 43, and it is smooth sailing for the 87, who made the move to go 4 tires under the green flag pit stop, and it is going to pay off for him today at Homestead with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and that 2-tire call for Travis Daly is, well, actually kind of worked out for him, hasn't it? He's gotten by James Dunleavy not too long ago. We saw it live here on Flatout Racing Network. You saw it on your screen. And he's been able to gap the 89 James Dunleavy. So, 2 tires, I thought it wouldn't work out, and I even shot it down. But he's been able to keep the top 2 position here. But what could have been for Travis Daly if he would have taken 4 tires and maybe battled out Garrett Powell for the win?
Yeah, it's really a case of the what-ifs as it is 2 laps to go now. Garrett Powell sitting pretty right now to come home with a victory in the season opener. Travis Daly, he's going to more than likely close things out in second. James Dunleavy just needs to turn 6 more corners, and he can hold off Mike Tillier, who's a second and a half back. As Garrett Powell rolls through 3 and 4, white flag will be in the air for him. No caution in sight for him. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Garrett Powell really getting ready for a victory.
Yeah, and Mike Tillier is closing that gap down quick, but I don't think it's going to be close enough for Mike Tillier to catch James Dunleavy unless James has some kind of incident through 1 and 2. He hit the apron, but I don't think Mike's going to catch him. But Garrett Powell rolls down into turn 3, and he'll come off turn 4 and pick up his first win of the season, Carlos.
Out of turn 4, Garrett Powell makes the move to take 4 tires. It pays off. He wins here tonight in the Heaven's Best Service Group 160 at Homestead Miami Speedway as he kicks off the season with a bang, picking up the win here tonight in Homestead, Florida.
And Travis Daly with a nice second place after that 2 tires. James Dunleavy in third place. Mike Tillier almost got to him. Maybe a couple more laps would have gotten that. And Raul Meza with a good finish in 5th place. Look through the rest of your top 10 as they cross the line. Austin Harger, good run for that 16. Very well paying off from that pit strategy in the middle of stage 2. Garrett Brown in the 35, finishing 7th. 8th will be Landon Ehlers in that 43, replacing Alan King. 28th will be P9 of Nathan Hall, and rounding out the top 10 will be the 48 car of Cole Maxwell after having that incident on lap 1.
Mike Tillier and Tristan Maher coming down to celebrate with the 87 and give them their congratulations. A tough break for Maher tonight, finishing out in 26th. He was great first night for the start of this one, as the 87 is going to burn it down for the for you people watching, and then the virtual fans watching. A great run tonight for the number 87 of Garrett Powell. Going to drive it down here, do a little bit of a Polish victory lap. He's got to be careful. There's still some guys out on the racetrack. Man, what a run tonight for that guy. He, like I said, made the move of the race, in my opinion, taking 4 tires, and instead of the 2 that Daly took. And if Daly took those 4, I firmly believe Daly could have made it a race.
Oh, he could have, couldn't he? And, it's like you said earlier, it's those what ifs. If he did take 4 tires, could he have hold off Garrett Powell? Garrett Powell was the quickest car on the racetrack tonight. But, Travis did have a quick car, didn't he? And he showed that on the restart there to finish off this race. He got the elbows out and passed Garrett Powell, but like you said, Garrett Powell just chose 4 over 2, and he's ended up with that Polish victory lap here at Homestead Miami Speedway tonight.
You're going to hear from him, Travis Daly, and James Dunleavy as he continues to celebrate. We'll catch those 3 guys on the other side of this quick break. We'll be right back here on Flatout Racing Network. Once again, Garrett Powell, your winner here tonight at Homestead. back here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Once again, Garrett Powell, your race winner, Travis Dowley, James Dunleavy, Mike Tellier, and Raul Mesa. They were your top 5 with Harger, Garrett Brown, Landon Allers, Nathan Hall, and Cole Maxwell. That was your top 10. But we're going to hear first from James Dunleavy, who filled in tonight for Brandon King. James, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes. Hello.
Man, you drove the wheels off the car tonight. Filling in for Brandon King with his power outage issues due to Hurricane Laura, and you really stepped up to the plate tonight, in my opinion. I know you run down the Xfinity Series, but I think you just made a lot of cases for a Cup ride, or even part-time Cup ride this season, and maybe full-time next year. Give me your thoughts on the run tonight.
So the thought was hopefully Reading Night. That's where the setup was ultimately designed for, and due to technical difficulties, but ultimately, the Chevy Camaro track racer, it ran great. Just a little tight overall. Just had a few hiccups where I got hit going into a corner. A little scuffle with Garrett, and a very loose race car on fresh tires, and I try to keep a clean race and just race everybody respectfully, and hopefully get that Cup ride.
Yeah, we saw you and Ryan Thomas have that little incident earlier in the race where, I don't know if he misjudged the braking zone or whatnot, but you came in pit lane, you fixed the damage on that around the pit stops after stage 1, and we've had a lot of wrecks tonight, James, and luckily you weren't involved in any of them. But give me your thought process after you keep on seeing wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck. Did you know that maybe you have a car that could win this race? Because you did. Let's be real. You surprised me. You surprised Carlos by running so well. What was your thought process going into stage 3?
Just going into stage 3, I just wanted to, get up into the top 5 and really show the guys, that I'm serious. I'm coming back from a 5-year hiatus. Haven't run the Cup cars in 5-6 years, and just wanted to get up there and prove that, at 33, 34 years old, that I still got what it takes.
Absolutely. An incredible run for you tonight in relief, of all things. So typically you don't see relief drivers do all that great on the real-life Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. So for you to come out in 3rd tonight, that was incredible. Warren, do you have any final thoughts for him?
Other than the fact that if you have to replace Brandon next week, you're probably the best choice to do it, because if we go to Atlanta and you do the same thing you did tonight, let me tell you, as a team owner myself, you really surprised me tonight, and hopefully we see more of you in the Tech Cup Series.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the positive influence here, guys, and I will, if anything comes up, I will definitely consider getting the Cup if the opportunity comes up.
Well, James, before we let you go this evening, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just want to give a shout out to the Wallbangers Racing, Steve Kerpel, Lucky Dog. They ultimately got me back into sim racing, and Brandon King, Travis Daly, just for allowing me to get into the car tonight. It's very much appreciated. I'm really happy that I was able to give them a good finish.
Alrighty, that was James Dunleavy, a 3rd place run in relief tonight. Hopefully we'll see you down the line in this season. Again, a great run, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, I'll talk to the runner-up this evening, Travis Dowley, in the 15. Travis Dowley, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRN booth. You got us?
I got you.
Man, you gambled with that 2 tires, and I know. And it just didn't pay off for you in the end. A very gutsy move, I will give you that. I don't know if I would have done it, but the fact that you did it and tried to make it work was impressive. Just unpack that race for me, especially that last stage.
Yeah, definitely. At the beginning of the 1st and 2nd stage, I think we had pretty good cars. Had a pretty sporty crowd up towards the front. Into stage 1, I got loose coming off of 4, I believe it was, and almost lost it, and lost my 2nd place there, but brought that home 4th. Got 2nd in the stage 2. But that last stage, made a few adjustments. That last pit stop at the end of stage 2, car definitely was coming in. Just bad call taking 2 tires at the end there.
Yeah, I tell you what, you impressed a lot of us tonight. Last season, we didn't really see you much if you did race. But this season with the setups, you've come out swinging, and and also you've put the elbows out a bit. We saw you a little bit racing there with Garrett Powell. We saw a little bit of the RG Bargy that we love to see here in the Tech Hub TV Cup Series. When you got past Garrett, what was the thought process? Because you had the battle for that. Let's be real. You set him up for about 6 laps. When you did get by him, was there a little bit of a grin on your face because of the blocks he was throwing a little bit, or was it just like, okay, I'm good, I'm gone. Let me just try to build as big of a gap as I can, so when I pit, I'm good to go.
Yeah, he was blocking pretty hard there. A couple times I almost got into him. I tried to race him as clean as I could, but finally got a run there and got under him, and yeah, slid up just a tiny bit and touched the side. I'm glad he didn't wreck. But yeah, I had a huge grin on my face coming through there. But yeah, our team Need Speed Motorsports was a late entry to the end of last season. Was talking with Dakota, the admin, a little bit, and he was telling me that they were getting ready to go open setup this season. So our team, we've got a little bit of experience in some open setup leagues, so we kind of figured that we'd be right up there, and it definitely showed coming home second and third.
Warren, you have any final thoughts for him?
Other than the fact of hopefully we see a lot more of you this season. I know this is one of those outlier races to where you might say, well, some of the big guys got involved, like Dylan Stipe and stuff. So you were racing clean with them, and if you're running that good, hopefully we'll see you in victory lane some point this season.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to getting in there. Just real quick, I want to give a special thanks to my wife and kids giving me an opportunity to do this, and again, want to thank my team, Need Speed Motorsports, and all of our sponsors. Just want to kind of run through a couple of them real quick, if you don't mind. We got Butt Kicker, Majors Garage, Shady Ray Sunglasses, Ray's Energy, Pinnacle Jiu Jitsu, Struggle Beyond the Decade. Man, we've got 8 or 9 of them, but go check us out. We've got a website up and running. It's www.needspeedmotorsports.com. Check them all out there. But I appreciate you guys calling the race.
Absolutely. It was absolutely our pleasure. That was your second place finisher, Travis Daly. Best of luck to you as we progress through the season, and congrats on another good run tonight.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
All right, we'll talk to the man of the hour now, and number 87 of Garrett Powell. Garrett Powell, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Warren Keith in the FRN booth. You got us?
How you guys doing?
Doing very well, man. I'm sure you are doing maybe a little bit more, even better than we are, man. What a run for you tonight. You, what I said, I coined it the move of the race because really that's what it was. The 4-tire stop compared to Daly's 2-tire stop. And that ended up being the difference for you, picking up a win by over 4 seconds. Just give me your thoughts. How are you feeling?
It was great, first off, to get the 3-stage win and just take the sweep of the race. We've had a fast race car. I knew we had a fast car all night, and I've never been a guy to take 2 tires. It seems like most guys who take 2 tires, they lose the time. So, especially at a track like Miami. So, the 4-tire stop was it for me, and clearly it worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah, I'll say you had a car that we knew you're going to win. You're going to be up there to win the race tonight. You swept both stages. You're walking out of here with 7 playoff points, which is 7 more than anybody else in the field going into Atlanta. We know you're going to be one of the contenders for a championship. We knew that in the preseason when I was talking with a bunch of you guys. What's your thought process now that you have a win in the bank? Is it still full steam ahead for you guys, or is it relax, get the top 5s, and try to see what you got in the playoffs, even though it's race 1?
Probably just going to sit around and just, the way I kind of race is just see what happens around us, the strategy and anything, especially with the rest of the season. We got a lot of tracks, a lot of races left to go. A lot of tracks that I, really enjoy. I love the road courses, and I love a lot of the other tracks. And Atlanta's, just previously on iRacing doing official races, I was fast in Atlanta, so I hope we'll be fast there. But I mean, definitely don't want to be overly aggressive and take ourselves out of a race and lose a lot of points just to gain one spot up. So definitely gonna keep my head on a swivel and definitely be a little maybe a little more patient, make a little bit smarter choices. But I mean, tonight I thought I played it pretty well, and tried not to do anything too risky. You know, the restarts were absolutely nuts. That the first restart we had where I gained, I don't know, 10, 15, or 12 spots, I think, on one restart was absolutely nuts. So I wasn't exactly planning on doing anything like that. And it just, you know, like I said, it just kind of play it by ear, see what happens, and go from there.
Alrighty, Warren, any final thoughts for him before we let Garrett go ahead and give some shout-outs?
Well, just the fact that, you know, I'm planning on running a couple of races this season, and it's going to be an honor racing against you after seeing what you did tonight, and hopefully see you in victory lane some more this season.
Yeah, I really look forward to racing with you as well.
Alrighty, Garrett, before we let you go this evening, anybody want to give a shout-out to?
Number one person is definitely Dylan Stipe. Dylan's worked all week to get this setup perfected, and I tried to give it a shot, and I thought I had a pretty decent car, and we went into some testing yesterday, spent a couple hours comparing setups, and his was, you know, just a little bit better than mine, and in the long run, it was way better than mine. So, I mean, huge shout out to Dylan for putting together a great setup for the whole team. You know, Mike Tellier and Raul both getting top fives at the same setup. Unfortunately, him and Tristan got into it, and David got into an early wreck. So, unfortunately, you know, I would expect they would have been in the top 10 just as well. But huge shout out to him. Huge shout out to Waffle and DSM Motorsports. You know, those guys, I love working with them. They're fantastic to race with. So, that's pretty much it.
Alrighty, Garrett Powell, race winner here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway, starting this year off with a bang, 7 playoff points in the pocket, and best of luck to you as we progress through this season. Have a good night, man.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Alrighty, as we approach midnight on the East Coast, Warren, give me your final thoughts after just in a pretty much you pretty much had everything in this race. You had your wrecks, but you had your great green flag runs and a green flag pit stop.
Hey, we had it all, didn't we? And you know, it's one of those things to where it's absolutely one of those races to where you don't want to see the start of a season, but at the same time, it's better to get it out of the way now. If you're one of these drivers who got involved in a wreck tonight, you've got the whole rest of the season in your favor. Get the butterflies out of the way tonight, so when we go to Atlanta next week, you know, it's smooth sailing for the whole field. You're going to get one of these races in everyone's career, especially up in the booth. You're going to get one of these races in everyone's career. Usually it's at Talladega or Daytona, but it was tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway here in the TechHub.TV Cup Series.
And that's just going to about wrap things up for us. Warren mentioned it. We are at the hot 1.5 mile track of Atlanta Motor Speedway next week, September 6th. Same time, same great channel, 8:20 Central Time, 9:20 Eastern Time, here on Flatout Racing Network for the TechHub.TV Cup Series, presented by Kicking Asphalt Racing. Warren, man, it was great to have you in the booth tonight. It's great to be back after taking a little bit of time off, and I'm excited for this season of this TechHub.TV.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the better leagues we have here on Flatout Racing Network. I can almost promise you that.
And that's going to wrap things up for us. Big thank you to Matthew Rodriguez and Seth Cole, 2 of our operations managers here who make everything happen behind the scenes. Big thank you to them. And then to all of us here at Flatout Racing Network who make this stuff happen and be able to bring series like the TechHub.TV Cup Series to you at your homes and in the comfort of your own home. So it's definitely a pleasure and a big thanks to all those guys. For Warren Keith, I'm Carlos Zimmerman. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Once again, Garrett Powell, he is your race winner to kick off the new season of the TechHub.TV Cup Series here tonight from Homestead, Miami. And that will wrap things up for us tonight. We'll see you in Atlanta next week. Good night from Homestead, Florida.